Uh, this hearing of the committee, ano lang, if you're not called, pakipatay lang yung yung paki-mute lang po para hindi tayo maingay. Miss Sarah, yung pakisabi sa kanila.
This is important as part of SIC should also be down other enterprises that do business with them.
May we call on Voltaire Fernandez. Ano lang, silent lang po yung inyong paki-mute lang po. Ayan.
Present guidelines and limitations.
Saan yun? Saan ba yun?
On the second holding company.
Jane, ano nga? Address mo nga.
Yes, can you please turn off all gadgets, no? Yung unmute mo lang muna natin po. Because nagkakaroon ng effect dyan sa bandwidth natin.
In addition, it should be emphasized that it is not consistent with the special holding company being the largest.
Pakitawagan lang sa phone, baka hindi tayo naririnig. Voltaire Fernandez.
Mr. Voltaire, ng PRIB. PRIB po kayo sa PRIB. Yung PRIB pa ng Senado. Please naman. No reaction.
Multitasking siya, parang sabay-sabay ata hearing din niya, no?
I have 3 today. 3.
Naku, talagang ha?
Yung trip ba yung hindi
So medyo yung net daw.
napalo dun sa wakas?
Monitoring nga sa IV.
Oh, now we're good? Alright, tumahimik na siya. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This hearing of the Committee on Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation, joint with committees on government, corporations, and public enterprises, finance, is now called to order. And this early, I would like to thank all our guests and resource persons for sharing their valuable time with us today. Ngayong umaga ay tatalakayin po natin ang dalawang mahalagang panukalang batas. Una, the lifetime validity of birth certificate. And number 2, the lowering the mandatory and optional retirement age of government employees. The committee tabled these measures in the agenda today because the first one was requested by one of our colleagues, and the second one was already passed by the House of Representatives. Incidentally, they pertain to 2 milestones in person's life: birth and retirement. At dahil nga ang mga ito ay mahalagang yugto sa buhay ng isang tao, marapat lamang na tugunan natin ang mga hinaing ng ating mga kababayan tungkol dito. Before we proceed, let us acknowledge first the presence of the 2 senators, Senator Villanueva and Senator Binay. Thank you, mga kapatid, for being here today. With the presence of our 2 colleagues, the chair hereby declares the presence of a quorum. Let us also acknowledge the presence of our resource persons na tutulong sa atin na paigtingin, palawigin, at pagandahin ang mga panukalang batas na talakayin natin ngayon. May I ask our Committee Secretary, Ms. Jane Arsadon, to read the names of the resource persons present and their respective agencies or organizations. Go ahead, Jane.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Senators Joel Villanueva and Nancy Binay. We have invited a list of those from the government agencies as well as non-government associations. So from the Civil Service Commission, whose chairperson is Commissioner Bala, representing therein, we have Assistant Commissioner Ariel Ronquillo. Again, also from the Civil Service Commission, we have the Commissioner, Eileen Lizada. From the Department of Budget and Management, we have Assistant Director Maria Lourdes Aganon, as well as the Chief Budget Management Specialist Organization of the Position Classification and Compensation Bureau, Ms. Joyce Akad. From the DepEd, we also have one of their staff, Mr. Vince Panaon. Um, from the Commission on Higher Education, we have Mr. Jackie Guardame from the EDUC Program, Office of Student Services. From the Government Service Insurance System, we have Vice President Lucio Yu, Attorney Giovanni Lin Kikoy Marin. From the Actuarial Division, we have managers Jeffrey Reyes, Jenny Lobas, and Oliver Flores. Also, we have Vice President Rodrigo Manuel. From the Philippine Statistics Authority, we have Attorney Leo B. Malagar, Attorney Dines and Mr. Fred Solesta of their Legal Division Office. From the non-government associations, we have the Philippine Government Employees Association, or PGEA, Mr. Donald Bo. From the Philippine Association of State Universities and Colleges, we have Attorney Luz Biminda Rosales. From the Alliance of Concerned Teachers, we have its chair, Jocelyn Fegalan Martinez, and its president, Ms. Solita Daz. From the Philippine Public School Teachers Association, we have Ms. Cristina Manalo. From Centro, which is the Sentro na Nagkakaisa at Progresibong Manggagawa, we have the Vice Chairperson, Mr. Elpidio Maramot. From the non-uniformed personnel of the Philippine National Police, Ms. Sara Lerum, its President, and its Chief, Ms. Cynthia Rosales. Okay. Are there any other guest or resource individuals that I have not acknowledged? Please state your name and your agency.
Ma'am Jane, Santiago Dasmariñas Jr. from Cali.
Okay, Mr. Santiago Dasmariñas of Courage. Am I correct? Yes. Okay.
Good morning, Ma'am Jane.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Annalisa
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Gando
you.
from Unifast, representing Unifast.
Salamat po, Your Honor. Yes. Magandang umaga.
Miss Jane.
Hello, good morning po.
Okay,
Good morning.
Mr. Benjo Basas from Teachers Dignity Coalition.
Thank you.
Are there
Good
other
morning
more?
po. I'm Grace Pedrajas from CHED.
Sige. All right.
Good
You already have
morning.
represented.
For the
Okay.
recognize.
Morning. I'm Vilma Fuentes from GSIS.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay. Noted. Yes. Okay, can we proceed now? Yes.
Proceed now? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Maraming salamat, Comsec. At this point, may I ask if any of our senators would like to give an opening remarks? Senator Villanueva?
I'll give way to our lady senator, ladies first.
All right,
Senator
ladies
Nancy.
first. Okay, Ma'am Nancy, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, hindi na po ako magbibigay ng opening statement dahil sa bisita pa lang ho, napakadami na natin dapat pakinggan. Yun lang po. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, Senator Villanueva, you're now
Yes,
recognized.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Before I give my sponsorship speech, Mr. Chair, let me thank you for this opportunity. I have two bills that we will be tackling today. Should I deliver both or are we tackling the lowering the optional retirement age of public school teachers or the lifetime validity of birth certificates, or we're gonna tackle both at the same time, Mr. Chair? That's my
No, one at a time. So, Senator, one at a time tayo. Lifetime validity of birth certificate muna tayo, and then we'll tackle
Okay,
this.
so yung lifetime, sige po, Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
okay.
may I just give my sponsorship speech on lifetime validity. Lifetime validity, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, thank you for your swift action on this particular issues that we will be tackling today. Mr. Chairman, we filed Senate Bill number 1281, which seeks to unburden our citizens who are forced to get their birth certificate every 6 months just to be able to show a valid birth certificate. In the Holy Bible, the book of John chapter 3, verse 3 to 5, the Lord Jesus Christ himself said, "No one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again." Nicodemus asked, "How can someone be born when they are old? Surely they cannot enter a second time into the mother's womb to be born." And spiritually, Mr. Chair, we can be born again according to the story of Jesus and Nicodemus. But biologically, Mr. Chairman, of course, we can be born only once. Minsan lamang po tayo ipanganak at hindi naman po nagbabago ang mga details and circumstances ng ating pagkasilang. Hindi nga po kaya marapat lamang din na hindi na mag-e-expire ang birth certificate. We acknowledge, Mr. Chair, that the birth certificate is a vital record that establishes and gives details on a person's birth. Being a permanent record of identity, birth certificates issued by the Philippine Statistics Authority has no expiration. However, they are printed on security papers to keep the integrity of the document. The requirement created an impression, Mr. Chair, that they expire after 6 months. Thus, every time a person is required to submit a birth certificate for whatever reason, one must secure a new copy from the PSA using the latter's updated security paper. This procedure results in inconvenience and unnecessary expenses for ordinary Filipinos. This inconvenience expense is particularly burdensome for job seekers because applicants submit a copy of the birth certificates during the hiring process. Isulong po natin ang lifetime validity ng birth certificate para po maibsan ang kahit konti ang pasanin ng ating mga kababayan. Again, I would like to express my sincerest thanks and gratitude to the chair of the committee, Senator Rabong Revilla, for prioritizing these bills. And I hope that we will be able to finish our discussion on this particular measure very soon para na rin po sa kapakanan ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino, lalo na po sa mga naghahanap ng trabaho ngayon na kailangang magsumite ng kanilang birth certificate bilang pre-employment requirement. Again, maraming salamat po and pagpalain tayong lahat ng ating Panginoong Diyos.
Okay. Thank you very much sa ating napakasipag na senador, Senator Joel, at talaga namang maasahan natin anytime. Ito dapat may nagpapahinga na pero working senators pa rin like Joel and Nancy. Thank you very much sa inyong dalawa for being here at napakahalaga nitong ating mga itatackle today. So okay, let's now proceed to the first item in our agenda, the bills proposing the lifetime validity of birth certificate. There are 3 bills filed by our colleagues regarding this topic. The committee secretary will read the title of these bills into the record. Comsec.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Revilla. For the lifetime validity of birth certificate, we have Senate Bill number 262, an act prohibiting national government agencies from requiring the submission of a Philippine Statistics Authority certified birth certificate issued within the past 6 months, introduced by Senator Francis Pangilinan. Senate Bill number 600, an act prohibiting national government agencies from requiring the submission of a Philippine Statistics Authority certificate issued within the past 6 months, introduced by Senators Ralph Recto and Win Gatchalian. And the last, Senate Bill number 1281, an act providing for the lifetime validity of birth certificates issued by the Philippine Statistics Authority and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Joel Villanueva, Your Honor.
Okay, noong 17th Congress, nag-ain po si Senator Ralph Recto ng kahalintulad na panukalang batas na dininig din naman ng Committee on Civil Service. Subalit hindi po ito na i-report sa plenaryo. This 18th Congress, we have 3 bills of similar nature, recognizing the benefit that this measure will give to our people. And in response to the request made by Senator Recto, we are hearing these measures today. Nilinaw na po ng Philippine Statistics Authority, PSA, na walang expiration ang mga birth certificate na ini-issue nila. At kahit pa regular silang nagpapalit ng security paper, hindi ito nangangahulugang expired na ang mga naunang birth certificates na ini-issue nila. Ngunit sa kabila nito, marami pa ring ahensya ng gobyerno at mga pribadong organisasyon ang nagre-require ng birth certificate na kaya nasa latest PSA security paper. And this requirement costs our people valuable time and money. Hindi dapat nangyayari ito. Lalo na po ngayong panahon ng pandemya kung kailang apektado ng gusto ang ating ekonomiya. Anumang karagdagang gastusin ay iindahin talaga ng mga kababayan natin. Dagdag pa dito ang panganib o risk na mahawaan ng virus kung sila ilalabas ng bahay, kung sila kukuha ng birth certificate. Now, may the committee hear your inputs and comments on this. So, let us start with the PSA. No? Senator Joel, if you want to interject, Senator Nancy, you're free to interject. Okay, for PSA.
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honors. I am Leo B. Malagar. I'm the Deputy National Statistician. And with me are the team from the PSA. Okay, and from the team of the PSA, we have from the Office of OIC Deputy National Statistician Raul Lutovice and Ms. Jacqueline Hakiaka. And then I have with me Regional Director Attorney Fred Solesta, Engineer Marisa Grande, the OIC Assistant National Statistician, Ms. Aurora Riolalas, the Division Chief, our Head of the Legal Service, Attorney Dines, and Mr. Delio de la Fuente, the Registration Officer 1 of our Civil Registration Division, Management Division. So we have prepared our position paper on the 3 draft bills, Your Honors, and on document validity. We are in the process of finalizing our position paper. And in fact, we have the same position filed before the lower house. And just to briefly summarize our position paper, Your Honor, we can confirm that the documents issued by the PSA have no expiration dates. Okay, and we support the objectives of the bill. Once passed into law, it would facilitate and help our people's transaction with the government and the private sector. We just want to submit some concerns. So for example, if government agencies will not require the most recent copy of the birth certificate, the submitted requirement or the birth certificate by an applicant may not be the updated version of the certificate. This is because the civil registry documents, although permanent, could be subjected to correction or modification in certain cases allowed by law. So that is, in sum, Your Honor, our position paper. We look forward to the passage of the bill, but at the same time, we respectfully appeal that our concern may be taken also into consideration. Thank you, Your Honors.
Attorney Leo, thank you. Meron pa bang gustong magbigay ng regarding the bill?
Mr. Chair,
Oh, go ahead. Senator Blanella, I recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you also for PSA for continuously reiterating that and clarifying that birth certificates are permanent records and wala po itong expiry. At ito rin po yung intention ng PSA, if I am correct, in our understanding that PSA never intended for certificates of live birth to expire. Is that a correct statement, sir? We can't hear you, sir.
Attorney Leo, you are recognized. Let me answer.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. But what efforts are you doing, if any, sir, to coordinate with the agencies or end users that accept only birth certificates issued within the last 6 months regarding the adoption of a uniform and clear policy on COLB validity? Kasi tama po si Chairman kanina, binanggit po niya na walang expiration, yan yung intention po natin, pero kailangan talaga maging mas malinaw at mas maayos ang polisiya ng ating mga ahensya dito kasi aanhin nga po ng kababayan natin yung birth certificate nila na valid ayon po sa PSA, walang expiration ayon sa PSA, pero kung hindi naman po tinatanggap ng ilang mga ahensya.
Attorney Leo.
Your Honor, we have consistently announced in public that birth certificates do not have any expiration, and other than that, we have no power to coerce or to require the other government agencies to adopt any rule because those are the rules of that particular government agency, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair.
Effort to talk to these agencies, departments, na may effort po ba kayo na just to tell them wala pong expiration yan, pwede nyo hong tanggapin yan, huwag nyo nang pahirapan yung ating mga kabayan. A letter or anything?
Thank you, Your Honor. We will take that into consideration, Your Honor. We will actively coordinate with the different agencies of the government and inform them that based on the position of the PSA, these certificates have no expiration date. But other than that, Your Honor, we cannot, of course, or tell them what type of rule they will accept or requirement they will require from their applicants. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair.
To Senator Nancy, but it really means that this measure is important, Mr. Chair. Now we pass this measure. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Senator Nancy, go ahead.
Just to add dun sa point na nire-raise ni Senator Joel Villanueva. Kasi I know for a fact yung ang dahilan na binibigay nila kung bakit valid lang for 6 months yung birth certificate. Kasi yung PSA daw nagpapalit ng security paper ba? Kaya parang nagkaroon ng validity itong mga birth certificate natin. Tama po ba yung ganong dahilan na binibigay kung bakit it is only good for 6 months?
Your Honor, we change colors of the security paper, but it does not mean that the certificate do have a expiration date. It's just for security purposes. It does not go into the lifetime validity of the birth certificate.
So lang, it create parang the perception is since hindi na niya sinusunod yung tamang color ng paper at the moment, it renders the birth certificate not valid anymore kasi parang nawala yung security feature nung birth certificate. Parang ganun ho yung understanding ng agency kung saan tayo magsasubmit ng ating birth certificate.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will actively coordinate and inform our partner agencies, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
PS,
Thank you.
yes. So it's just a matter of coordination. Just go ahead, Senator Villanueva.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No? And I agree with Senator Nancy. Perhaps it somehow created a misconception or confusion for that matter. And I think PSA can also do something about it. And again, it's a matter of coordination and informing our agencies that it's just a change of security, etc. But at the end of the day, the document is still valid. Just a few pointers that I'd like to raise with PSA, just to spread into the record, sir. Based on your data, what is the most common purpose stated by our kababayans for requesting a birth certificate? Kasi tinignan ko itong application form being filled out for a birth certificate application. May mga nakalagay po dito, no? The applicant has to indicate the purpose of his or her request. Ang options include claim benefits or loan, employment abroad, employment local, passport travel, or school requirements. So dito po, ano yung pinaka most common purpose pag may humihingi po o nag-request ng birth certificate? Just for the record, sir.
May I request our Miss Aurora Riolalas, Your Honor, if we have ready data on this. Miss Aurora?
Good morning,
Yes.
good morning, everyone. Actually, the reason, most of the reasons they are requesting for the birth certificate is for for work related to
For work.
Yes,
Yes.
po.
I would agree.
And followed by the school requirements.
Mm-hmm. Okay po. Ma'am, for the record, I know that the fee is 155 pesos per copy. Is that a correct statement? I think it's effective February 2 of 2018. 155 pesos per copy. Is that correct?
Yes, po. Yes, Your
So that's
Honor.
correct. 155 pesos.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ma'am, how many birth certificates has the PSA? Last question ko na po ito. How many birth certificates has the PSA issued in the past few years? Kung meron po kayo, do you have a record? For example, past 2 years, 3 years. And last but not the least po na tanong ko sana, because we work hard for this question,
Your Honor.
Senator Nancy, last Congress, no? We passed yung aking pet bill, itong First-Time Job Seekers Assistance Act na naglalayong magbigay ng libre na pag-issue ng mga government documents sa mga first-time job seekers. Do we already have this data? How many availed of this a program of the government based on the law that we passed?
If I may, sir, this is Marisa Grande, the OIC of the Civil Registration
Yes,
Service. In 2019, we
Copy siya.
around 20 million, but last year, because of the
Ma'am, sorry, we can't hear you, ma'am. Sorry.
it's just only around 50% have requested for
Yes, Marisa, can you please turn on
certifications.
your video? Is your video on or off? We cannot see you from here. Marisa? I think we're
Problem is, Mr. Chair, we can
Hello,
see
sir.
her. We can.
Your Honor.
technical problem.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay.
Attorney
So,
for data.
okay, while waiting for Engineer Marisa to come in, as of February 27, 2021, these are the total records in production for birth certificate, 129,428,901. All the data, Your Honor, we will include in our position paper, Your Honor. All the data requested by Senator Joel Villanueva will be included in our position
Thank
paper.
you.
Correct.
Sige po, thank you. We can't hear you, Mr. Chair. I don't hear you. But I'm really interested. I think Senator Nancy and I are very interested as to how many right now had availed of our first-time job seekers act. So sana po namin. Thank you po. Salamat.
All right. Thank you, Senator Villanueva. Senator Nancy?
Mr. Chairman, I think si Commissioner
Yes.
Eileen Lizada was raising her hand.
Okay. Commissioner, you're recognized. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Salamat po. Magandang umaga, Senator Binay, Senator Villanueva. Sa part ng CSC, we do not require within a certain period ng issuance of PSA's certificate of live birth. This is just a proposal because I have heard from PSA that they have issued several issuances that it is lifetime, that it is no expiration. Baka pwede pong, can they be more definite that it is not is within a certain period, ano yung mga exceptions na dapat, but the general rule is wag na ho kayong humingi. You just state under what circumstances na pwede silang, the agencies will request for, if the change of name or birth ba po. So but as a general rule, hindi na ho sana silang, we support the three bills po. It is good para ho na hindi ho madagdagan yung mga expenses pa ng mga taong bayan po. Baka PSA can be more definite in their issuances. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your inputs and comments. Senator Binay?
Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang itanong dun sa PSA, yung income niyo ba, binibigay niya sa Treasury or you're allowed to use it?
PSA?
Technically, magkakaroon kayo ng lost revenue, di ba? Pag na-implement na itong batas na ito.
Your Honor, may I request Director Fred or Engineer Marisa to answer the question?
Okay, Director Fred, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding the income brought about by the issuance of the birth certificate, direkta siya sa Treasury. We're not allowed to use, hindi siya kami corporation eh. And yung point kanina ni Director Lisa, Commissioner Lisada, regarding dun sa issuance ng mga birth certificate na minsan napamahal yung mga additional costs on our citizens, no? I would just like to raise the flag in some other agencies na sometimes we have experienced surges in the request of the birth certificate dahil requirements sa renewal sa mga employment. I'm speaking of government institutions. I will not say what agency, pero sometimes yung hinihingi nila, entire family yun, kung applicant pa lang siya, 10 yung hinihingi na copy. And then some other institutions, I may be specific on this, like the DepEd, pag nag-aral yung bata, grade 1 o kindergarten sa elementary, birth certificate, pag graduate minsan ng elementary, pag pasok ng high school, birth certificate, mag-graduate, birth certificate. Pag naglaro sa sports, birth certificate, maybe the agencies could devise system wherein pwede siya matingnan internally yung mga records na yan and not really just require the students ng
Number.
issuance. Yun lang yung kanina na specify ni ni Attorney DNS Leo na yung yung pag-ano ng issue ng mga birth certificate ay tama yon na wala siyang expiry, and then the security feature sa pagbago ng papel doesn't mean that the birth certificate will expire. Yung conclusion lang yun ng mga end users, no? Both public and the private institution, na pag nagpalit ng kulay ng papel yung PSA, automatically nag-expire. But I would just like to clarify na sa birth certificate lang yun, kasi you could not say that like when we issue the Senomar. Kasi over time, nagbabago yung status ng tao eh. So, pwede talaga na like yung embassy or some other institution, especially sa mga claims na baka over time nag-asawa na yan, o pwede siya na from time to time i-dictate nila yung kung hindi sila convinced sa submitted na documents like the Senomar or the marriage certificate. But sa birth certificate, permanent talaga yon, except na yung sinabi kanina ni Dennis Leo, kung nag-undergo siya ng correction. So, like may change ng name, change correction ng clerical error, or maybe may mga court order to change the entry in the certificate of live birth. Yan lang po. Thank you.
Yes, di ba pagka ang bayad is 155 pesos, no? Is that correct?
Yes,
You mentioned kanina. And then pag na-deliver na to, may additional cost pa ulit, 365 pesos. Tama po ba?
That is
Delivery or receipt nila sa online. So additional cost ulit sa mga kababayan natin.
Total na yan, sir, yung like 365 would be the total cost that would include delivery.
Sa total cost. Okay.
Pero pag walk-in siya sa mga outlets namin nationwide, in any outlets nationwide, the fee is 155 for the birth certificate, marriage certificate, and death certificate. And for the certificate of no marriage, it is 210 pesos.
Yeah, so bakit umabot ng 365 pesos?
May siya may yung mga sa courier. May delivery sa private.
Courier.
Yes, courier services.
Dini-deliver yon personally sa bahay?
Yes, door to door.
Door to door. Okay, Senator Nancy, may tanong ka ulit before I proceed.
Siguro, baka suggestion lang sa civil service, baka pwede rin ho ba kayo maglabas ng policy na kung renewal lang, baka hindi na kailangan ng birth certificate ulit, submission of birth certificate? Or is that already a policy?
Mr. Chair, may I respond?
Go ahead, Commissioner Lisada.
Salamat po, Senator Binay. With your suggestion po, we can take it up with our legal, but we need to coordinate with other government agencies kasi under what circumstances sila humihingi ng within 6 months. So we would know also what agencies ang humihingi ng within 6 months. That siguro we can share po sa inyo, that data. And then from there we can coordinate with the proper internal offices ng CSC po if a policy is needed para we can set in place kung after consulting po the other government agencies as well. We need to get more data on this, ma'am. But it would be a good policy po.
And siguro maganda din tingnan, Mr. Chairman, kung meron na ba tayong ginagawang move towards paperless type of access to birth certificates, di ba? Kasi isipin niyo yung 129 million na kinita ng PSA, may equivalent number of paper yan na ginamit, di ba? So, if we also want to be environment friendly, baka, hindi ko alam kung how it would affect data privacy, kung paano magkakaroon ng access digitally yung mga ina-applyan dun sa mga birth certificate. I don't know, I'm not a techie person, but maybe this is something na dapat tingnan, yung going paperless and digital when it comes to birth certificate.
Okay, you take note of that, no? And again, one more thing. Ano pong ahensya ng gobyerno sa pagkakaalam niyo na nagre-require ng latest PSA copy ng birth certificate? Who would like to answer this?
Director
PSA.
Fred? Director Fred, can you?
Director Fred, please
Yes,
answer.
sir. Yes. Yung mga yung mga government agency nagre-require ng latest, not so much on the latest na copy, but yung mga transaction, yung mga nila like employment agency, so magre-request yan sila ng mga birth certificate. And I have no record lang kung sino talaga yung nire-require nila na bagong copy, kasi pwede din nila tingnan yung kahit NSO issued pa noon na birth certificate, hindi naman nabago yung entry, or even the copy ng registration at the time of registration, yung sa LCRO. But yung mga heavy user, when it comes to agency, I will be very specific, yung DepEd at saka PNP.
Okay. Ano sa pagkakaalam ninyo ang dahilan ng mga government agencies ng pagre-require ng latest PSA copy ng birth certificate?
Maybe related doon sa sinabi nyo kanina na ni Senator Nancy na some are perception na pag nagbago ng kulay ay nag-expire na. So yun nga yung kanina yung commitment ng PSA to our Assistant Secretary Leo, na talagang we would be very mag-focus kami on disseminating on this aspect na yung birth certificate ay wala siyang expiry, and then yung pagbago-bago ng kulay just for security measures na para hindi siya ma-counterfeit, no? So yun yung ginano ng PSA. But not only the government sector, sir, but yung heavy din na nagre-request ng the latest na not later than 6 months ay also private institutions, including yung mga embassies here in the Philippines.
May I know if there's an office or unit within PSA where the authenticity of the birth certificate can be verified?
Yes, sir, at the civil registration.
Paano po ang sistema ng pag-check ng authentic, kung authentic nga yung birth certificate o mga civil registry documents, no? Yung mga ganon?
Yes, first of all, the security paper, may security features siya, may mga watermark ng authorized signatory, yung Civil Registrar General. And then may tinatawag na birth reference number. Parang siya, algorithm yan ng mga codes na mabe-verify mo siya kung yung naka-specify ba doon na birth reference number ay related talaga sa information na nakikita sa birth certificate.
So, ano yung maaaring gawin ng mga government agencies o pribadong kumpanya na gustong i-verify kung totoo ang birth certificate na binibigay sa kanila?
Like DFA, trained namin yung DFA and some other institutions na yung papaano sa i-check yung yung issuance ng PSA kung authentic o hindi.
Okay.
Yung pinabang dito talaga yung sa DFA, Department of Foreign Affairs.
All right. Okay, for PSA again, no? The proposed measures seek to prohibit such requirements only for national government agencies. Should we limit to national government agencies only? Ano po ang tingin nyo?
Mas maganda, sir, also na kung pwede ba mahagip siya na some other yung mga institutions dito sa atin, kasi yung while you limit na yung mga sa, like for example sa government schools, the private schools, marami din yung private schools, heavy user din sila.
Right. What about the LGUs? No? Ano po magiging epekto nito?
Sa LGUs, yung effect ng disallow ng issuance na not later than 6 months, hindi gaano sa LGU. Hindi gaano sa LGU.
Hindi gaano.
Oo.
Okay.
Kasi yung function naman, sir, is registration eh.
So what about the private companies or organizations? Ano po ang magiging epekto nito? Fred?
Your Honor, I think he's cut off.
Wala ka.
Yeah, with respect to private companies, Your Honor, maybe it will go into their managerial decision, so we cannot really require them as to what type of documents they should require from their applicants, since that would be their prospective employees. Go ahead, Sir Fred.
Sir, hindi ko nakuha yung tanong. I was na-disconnect ako.
Yes, kung isasama pa rin natin ang private companies or organizations, ano ang magiging epekto nito?
So I don't know how will they take that, kasi may mga tinitingnan din sila na siguro based on experience yung mga submission ng mga documents, but I don't know if it is really possible na maisali sila. But yung sa government side na mga institutions, although malaki na rin siya, malaking bagay na rin kasi yung employment nga. Pero yung employment din sa as a requirement sa employment, malaki din yung employment na numbers na nasa private sector. No? Pero kung sa government, like for example, as a school requirement, kung mas streamline din ng DepEd yung paggamit ng submitted birth certificate na hindi pa ulit-ulit, malaking bagay yun. And yung isa nga sa PNP, pag nag-apply ka ng PNP, 10 o mga, I think 10 copies. Individual.
Wow, okay. Sining tataas ng kamay?
Mr. Chair,
Please state your name. Senator Villanueva, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been listening attentively, to the concerns raised by Sir Fred, Commissioner Eileen. It makes a lot of sense. You don't need to be genius to implement this and think about this, because this is common sense, And as mentioned earlier by Sir Fred, for example, PNP asking for 10 copies, etc. sa DepEd, maya. But my only concern is that can we not check on this? For example, birth certificate, can we not check on this online and ensure that the information that they are checking are legitimate information? Can you do that? We check it online?
Sir, actually, for PSA, the forward direction, and this is part of the project, na the agencies could integrate with PSA and view the records online. Of course, subject to certain agreements. We have the Data Privacy
Yes,
Act.
I think the whole world is doing that, sir. I think the whole world is doing that. And I'm saying this because, in our last hearing dun sa Committee on Labor, for example, yung mga OFWs na lilipad abroad, tinignan namin yung application form ng POEA. Katakot-takot eh. Kung ano-ano, for example, birth certificate, tapos transcript of records, tapos yung lisensya ng PRC. Hindi ka naman makakaroon ng lisensya ng PRC kung hindi ka graduate. Hindi ka naman magkakaroon ng transcript of records kung hindi ka all these things, no? And I hope nandito si Commissioner Lizada, we can look into this. Mas streamline po natin itong mga government agencies asking for so many requirements na pahirap po sa ating mga kababayan, pahirap sa mga aplikante natin, pahirap sa mga nag-a-apply ng trabaho. So I hope ito ay maging eye-opener sa ating lahat, lalo na sa mga government agencies. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for the input, Senator Villanueva. Okay, kanina tumataas yung kamay ni Director Roger.
Yes, sir.
Masapol.
I am from DepEd. I am Director
From DepEd. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In 2018, Mr. Chair, we issued an enrollment policy guidelines for all the schools nationwide. And then just to highlight that we only require birth certificate once. Yung mga incoming candidate lang po ang nire-require namin kasi we want to ensure na tama yung profile ng bata, especially yung spelling ng pangalan. Kasi we noted that may mga estudyante po tayo na nakagraduate na tapos mali pa yung kanyang spelling kasi hindi nagsabit ng birth certificate. Tapos they end up having problems on records sa higher education, sa employment, sa DFA. So just to note, Mr. Chair, we only require once yung mga incoming kinder lang. And then that birth certificate na kinolekta namin, hanggang sa makagraduate siya ng senior high school, valid po siya. And then isa pa po, nire-require namin yung mga transferees. Kasi of course yung mga nag-transfer galing sa ibang lugar, walang record. So we don't require a latest copy. We only require a copy of the birth certificate, and we also accept kahit yung mga galing sa LCR. So and then Mr. Chair, we also noted that there are some schools also na yun nga may mga nagre-require ng paulit-ulit, but we already called the attention of this school that they should not be doing that because we only require once submission of birth certificate. The only purpose is to make sure that the profile of the children are correct. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you for the information, and that's a very good policy, no? That you should continue. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Binay.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
And last na lang sa DepEd, hindi ho ba supposed to be may learner's ID na yung mga estudyante natin? So, di ba dapat yung kahit transferees hindi na ho kailangan ng birth certificate dahil nga lahat ng pumapasok ngayon automatic may learner's ID. Yan lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
May be allowed to answer, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, guys.
Thank you, Senator Binay. So we'll look at that, and we'll see if we can still streamline to remove that requirements for transferees. But yes, every learner, the 26 million learners have their learner reference number. So we'll see if we can remove that requirements for the transferees.
Okay. Recognize nga natin si Miss Solita Das from Alliance for Concerned Teachers. Go ahead, Miss Solita Das. You're recognized.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako po ay isang guro sa pampublikong paaralan. Ako po ay natutuwa dahil napag-usapan itong mga bagay na to na sa totoo lang po ay napakalaking hadlang sa mga bata, lalong-lalo na kapag nagkakahingian ng mga birth certificate, lalong-lalo na ayaw pa po nila nung isang kopya lang, gusto pa po nila nang gagaling pa po talaga sa PSA. So nagkakaroon ho ng, ito po hindrance din para makapag-enroll ang bata sa oras dahil nga hirap-hirap po kasing mag-apply ng birth certificate, araw, oras, pera, yan po ang hirap. Kaya alam niyo naman mga bata sa public, yung pamasahe, yung pambayad sa ganyan ay malaking bagay na rin po. Kaya pakiusap lang yung mga talagang yung katulad nga yung learners, yung LIS na, yung LRN na lang, sapat na po yun kasi kumpleto na po yun, isang kuhanan na lang eh. Totoo po yun. Kaya sana po ay maibsan ng konti ang pahirap sa mga magulang, lalo-lalo sa pagdating sa pera, pamasahe, at panahon. Yun lang po, para makapag-enroll yung bata ng maayos at walang hirap. Yun lang po, salamat po.
Thank you very much, Miss Lita Da. Kaya tayo nandito ngayon para tugunan yung problema na yan, no? At ayusin natin yan. Okay, I now recognize Jocelyn Martinez. Tumataas din ang kamay. Jocelyn? Nawawala? Please turn on your mic.
Yeah, I already turn it on po. So,
Okay,
naririnig po ba ako? Magandang umaga po, Mr. Chair, at magandang umaga po sa lahat ng dumadalo dito sa meeting na to. Gusto ko lang pong pasubalian yung nasabi kanina na tuwing income yung kindergarten lang ang hinihinga ng birth certificate. Ako po ay public school teacher din at every time po na may palaro, yearly po yan eh, may palaro po. Except ngayong 2020, hindi po nagkaroon ng palaro. Pero every year po yan, yung mga players po ay hinihingan po ng birth certificate. So yun lamang po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Okay, DepEd, please answer. Totoo ba yun? Every time na may palaro, hinihingan sila ng birth certificate?
Sorry Mr. Chair, I am not kasi involved sa palaro pero mukha nga pong nire-record just to validate po kasi yung pinag-uusapan po sa palaro is yung age ng bata baka for verification. But I'll check with the Committee on Palarong Pambansa if this is being required, Mr. Chair. But
yes, paki-check na rin. Kung may mga ID na naman sila, siguro, at kung ina-endorse naman sila ng mga schools, I don't think that...
yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that information, Ma'am Jocelyn.
Okay, Senator Villanueva. Go ahead, Senator.
Very quick, Mr. Chairman, just very quick. I'm a product of Palarong Pambansa, 1992 in Zamboanga City. Since then, Mr. Chairman, I can't believe it, since then, hanggang ngayon pala every year ng palaro, nangihingi ng birth certificate. Tama po kayo, pwede namang ano ho yan ng school. At kung magsinungaling yung school, pwede namang i-penalize itong mga school officials, Mr. Chair. Again, pahirap ito. Sayang naman na binibigyan pa natin ng additional burden ang ating mga magulang, lalo na yung mga hirap po sa buhay. And thank you, Mr. Chair, dahil sa iyo, napag-usapan din natin ito. Salamat po.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Villanueva. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, in the position paper submitted by the PSA for the similar bill filed in the 17th Congress, they raised the question on how will the end user know that there is no modification done on the birth certificate. If the end user, agencies will be prevented from requiring the submission of the most recent copy of the birth certificate. Okay, PSA?
Director Fred?
Director Fred?
Actually, sir, the documents that will be subjected na yung for correction, yun yung yung trigger na magsasubmit siya. Usually magpapakorek yan yung document owner or yung parents pag may discrepancy siya sa kaniyang birth records at saka mostly yung dinadala niya na first name ganon o may error yung may spelling. So magre-require usually yung agency na i-align niya yung yung sa birth certificate at saka yung dinadala niya na entry or name sa birth certificate. Dalawa yan pwede na i-adapt niya what is being stated sa birth certificate or magiging ground niya yung usual niya na paggamit ng first name niya to change ng entry. So in that case, dapat talaga na ma-correct yung kaniyang birth record kung sa institution man yan by submitting an annotated copy of the corrected na entry sa kaniyang birth certificate. So yun yung mga instances na itingnan natin siguro na hindi lang siya yung submission lang, one-time submission ng document, kundi kung may mga discrepancy between sa records niya at saka sa birth certificate, dapat makorek siya and will be required to submit an annotated copy of the correct entry in the birth certificate. Yun lang, sir.
Okay. There's no penal provision in any of the bills filed. Mas maganda po ba na maglagay tayo ng penal provision para mas palakasin pa yung batas, no? At kung maglalagay tayo ng penal provision, ano ang rekomendasyon ninyo na kaparusahan para sa paglabas sa panukalang batas nito? Paglabag, no?
I would refer siguro sa legal service ng PSA regarding kung sa penal provision, if Attorney Dines is still around, can comment, or even DNS Malagar. Sirs?
Okay. PSA legal, please answer. Or maybe we can ask Commissioner Lizada. Commissioner?
Mr. Chair, This is just
Regarding
yes.
regarding the penal provision, meron po ba kayong proposal kung dapat po ba tayo maglagay ng penal provision dito sa panukalang batas na ito? Will it help? Ano po sa inyong pananaw?
The penal provision would be towards the agencies that will be requiring po. Clarification lang po.
Pwede, opo.
It may be considered, sir, but also yung we have a memorandum of agreement. This is a rejoinder to Senator Villanueva po with ARTA. Baka ARTA can look into the what you call this, yung kanilang citizens charter, kasi doon ho nakalagay talaga yung ano ang nire-request. And if this is maybe done through the level of ARTA, that no more requiring of this one except under exceptional circumstances. But as to the penal provision, it can be placed, sir, para they will take it seriously.
That's right.
We're talking about
so PSA. Okay, PSA, please answer.
Your Honor,
yes, sir.
I think in the House version, we agreed na 6 months and 1 day to 1 year. In the House version.
In the House version.
We'll adopt the same position, Your Honor.
So 6 months, 6 years and one day? 6 months.
6 months and 1 day, Your Honor.
Okay. 6 months and 1 day.
Yes, to 1 year.
Yes. Doon sa ating ibang resource persons, baka meron pa kayo gusto idagdag regarding dito sa panukalang batas na ito?
Sir Chair.
You're open. Okay. GSIS.
Mr. Chair, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Senator Nancy Binay, and
Lucio, you are recognized.
Good morning. We thank you that you invite GSIS to attend this hearing. No, actually, on major bills, first is the lifetime validity birth certificate, and secondly, later, which is the lowering of retirement age. But we have some comments, Mr. Chair, on the bills on lifetime validity, which we already submitted. Anyway, we fully support and impose no objection on the Senate bills since they only aim for business process efficiency by eliminating administrative burden, substantial costs, and acquiring updated birth certificate, paulit-ulit. And in fact, this would be a good development for our members so that lesser costs on the part of processing of, for example, GSIS claims. We only suggest that the one-time validation prescribed in the proposed measure through one-time submission, there'll be a more stringent and thorough check and validation of appropriate signatures and authorizations by the PSA, yung mga to avoid any bugos or fake birth certificate. And finally, Mr. Chair, actually under our office order 355-17 on the documentary requirements for various GSIS claims, the PSA issued birth certificate is a documentary requirement for processing of the following: the life and life insurance, motor vehicle insurance claims, funeral benefits, survivorship, and various housing loan transactions. However, we gave an option, not only a PSA birth certificate, but we also allow a submission of birth certificate by the local civil registrar if needed. And by this development, if these bills will be coming to law, this will be a more improvement, since a flexible rule and one-time validity from PSA, and of course we also allow the local registrar birth certificate issued by the local registrar. So we fully support the bill, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucio. Anybody else would like to speak regarding the ito sa panukalang batas na ito? Just raise your hand. Sino yan? Please state your name. Ayun, Donaldo Buo. You're now recognized from PGA. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm Donaldo Buo, and I'm representing the Philippine Government Employees Association in this public hearing. First of all, the Philippine Government Association wants to thank Your Honor for giving it this opportunity to present its position on the proposed lifetime validity of birth certificate issued by the Philippine Statistical Authority. The PGEA fully supports the proposal for economic and practical considerations because it will lessen the burden of the people, particularly of a job applicant in terms of effort, time, and money. People find difficulty in producing a new PSA certified copy of their birth certificate due to cost, time, and process every time it is required of them by agencies they have transactions with. Generally, and most of the time, a new PSA certified copy of a birth certificate contains the same information as the previously issued and certified birth certificate by the PSA and its predecessor agency like the National Statistical Office. The PGEA therefore humbly recommends to the Honorable Chairperson and fellow senators to consider the immediate approval of the proposed lifetime validity of birth certificate. That's all, Your Honor, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bugo. Okay, anybody else would like to speak up? Okay. But anyway, so salamat po sa lahat ng inyong inputs tungkol dito sa lifetime validity ng birth certificate. So let me just reiterate the recommendations of our colleagues and our resource persons. Number one, streamline the processes para maiwasan na yung paghingi ng mga bago o additional na kopya ng birth certificate. Tapos number two, CSC to coordinate with various agencies regarding this matter. Number three, strengthen information dissemination upang ipaalam sa mga government agencies na lifetime talaga ang validity ng birth certificates. Okay, DepEd to review the requirements para ito yung ating and then paperless transaction as recommended by Senator Binay. Okay, yun yung ating recap. So maraming salamat po kung lahat po ng concerned agencies at organizations ay nakapaglahad na ng kanilang mga rekomendasyon at wala nang katanungan pa from my colleagues. Senator Villanueva, baka meron ka pang dagdag? You're okay? Okay, who's the one raising his hands?
Chair
Roger, okay. Go ahead.
So
Mr.
we'd
Sapon.
like to register our support to the three bills for the validity of the birth certificate. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. So, okay. Thank you very much. We will now proceed to our next agenda. Are the bills lowering the retirement age of government employees, including House Bill number 5509, which was already approved on third reading by the House of Representatives. We have 5 measures regarding this subject. The committee secretary is directed to read into the records the titles of the said bills. Comsec, go ahead. Jane? We can't hear you, Jane. We can't hear you. Please turn, nakamute ka. We can't hear the Comsec.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now we can hear you. Go ahead.
For the lowering and mandatory and optional retirement age of government employees, amending Republic Act number 8291, otherwise known as the GSIS law. We have the following bills. Senate Bill number 72, an act lowering the mandatory and optional retirement age of government employees, amending for the purposes Sections 13B and 13A of Republic Act number 8291, otherwise known as the Expanded Government Insurance Act of 1997, introduced by Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. Senate Bill number 715, an act lowering the optional retirement age of public school teachers from 60 years old to 55 years old, amending for the purpose Section 13A of Republic Act Number 8291, otherwise known as the Government Service Insurance System Act of 1997, introduced by Senator Joel Villanueva. Senate Bill Number 738, an act lowering the compulsory and optional retirement age of government employees, amending for the purposes Section 13B and 13A of Republic Act Number 8291, otherwise known as the Government Service Insurance Act of 1997, introduced by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Senate Bill Number 958, an act lowering optional retirement age of public school teachers from 60 years old to 55 years old, amending for the purpose Section 13A of Republic Act Number 8291, otherwise known as the Government Service Insurance System Act of 1997, introduced by Senator Sunny Angara. And lastly, House Bill Number 5509, an act lowering the optional retirement age of government workers from 60 to 56 years, amending for the purpose Section 13A of Republic Act Number 8291, otherwise known as the Government Service Insurance System Act of 1997, introduced by Representatives Gerbin, Castro, et al. Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Comsec. Ang paglilingkod sa bayan bilang isang kawani ng pamahalaan ay isang karangalan. Ang karangalang ito ay tinatapatan naman nila ng sipag at dedikasyon sa kanilang trabaho. Kaya't ang mga umaabot ng retirement age sa gobyerno ay maituturing na mga haligi at huwaran ng serbisyo publiko. Kaugnay nito, nararapat lamang na siguraduhin natin na ang benepisyo na matatamasan nila sa kanilang pagre-retiro ay may enjoy pa nila. At dahil dito, naghain tayo ng panukala upang ibaba ang retirement age ng mga kawani ng gobyerno. The bills filed by this representation and Senator Gatchalian seek to lower both optional and compulsory retirement age. House Bill seeks to lower only the optional retirement age of government employees. Meanwhile, the bills by Senators Angara and Villanueva only covers public school teachers. Differing, they may be, they all serve the common purpose. And with that, let's find the best and most feasible proposal kung ano yung makakaganda para sa lahat. For the record, the Committee on Civil Service has conducted a consultative meeting regarding these bills, and comments and positions submitted during the consultative meeting have been disseminated to the members of the committee. And before I ask my questions, I would like to recognize again Senator Villanueva for his opening statement. Kanina meron siyang get. Go ahead, Senator.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Again, thank you for calling for this hearing. Let me put on record and spread into the records, Mr. Chair, that we have no problems expanding this not only for public school teachers but to all government employees. If you would recall, Mr. Chair, I think it was last week when we were discussing the setting our educational system. A lot of us in the session hall were talking about the perennial state of learning crisis because Filipino learners perform poorly in local and international evaluations. Pinatunayan po yan yung recent results of assessments like the PISA, the TIMSS, Southeast Asian PLM, etc. At we also share the conviction that teachers are one of the most important factors affecting learning outcomes, if not the most important. And while our teachers experienced crisis before the pandemic, they also face more challenges during the pandemic and the new Consequently, Mr. Chair, many teachers say that they need hours of relaxation, reflection, and rejuvenation. Araw-araw po ang magiting na pakikibuno ng ating mga guro sa iba't ibang suliranin, palagian at malikhain naman nilang nahahanapan ng tugon, no? Subalit, Ginoong Chair, katotohanan po na talamak pa rin ang burnout at mga sakit na karaniwang bunga ng stress, ayon na rin po mismo sa mga guro na ating nakausap at nakapanayam. Kitang-kita ko po ang ibig sabihin ng salitang kayod kalabaw sa ating mga guro, lalo na po ngayong pandemya. Ganyan din po yung nakita ko noon sa aking ama, kay Brother Eddie, kay Sister Dory, na pawang mga public school teachers dati, no? Inaasahan po natin na yung lowering the optional retirement age of public school teachers and even government employees from 60 to 55 years of age will be of great benefit, Mr. Chair, to our beloved teachers. Teaching is mentally, psychologically, and physically demanding. Public school teachers are required to render 6 contact hours and 2 hours of non-contact duties. But in reality po, Mr. Chair, they work 24/7, including weekends and public holidays, also performing non-teaching tasks during elections and national census, among many other occasions. Moreover, class sizes reach up to about 70 to 80 students, Mr. Chair, causing undue stress to both teachers and learners. Filipino teachers retire at the age of 65, Mr. Chair, while their counterparts in most Asian countries retire at the age of 60. Yun po ang sabi ng UNPAN. At Filipino teachers also retire 5 years later than in most American and European countries. So sana po bigyan po natin ng pagkakataon ang ating mga guro na ma-enjoy naman nila kung kanilang retirement while they are still healthy, agile, and strong. Maaari rin pong makatulong ang panukalang batas na ito na sa patuloy na dumarami na bilang ng mga bagong guro, nakakapasa pa lamang sa LET taon-taon na naghahanap din po ng trabaho. So again, Mr. Chair, maraming salamat for calling for this hearing at maraming salamat sa ating mga resource persons.
Thank you, Senator Villanueva. Okay, siguro we can hear first from GSIS. GSIS, you are now recognized. Please state your name.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Again, good morning, members of the honorable senators and members of the committee and fellow resource person. Mr. Chair, before we give our comments, may we be allowed to have a brief presentation on GSIS programs, products, and services, just for the information of the committee?
Maiksi lang ba yan? Maiksi lang?
Just a brief presentation. A brief presentation of our what we have offered and programs and of the GSIS.
Okay, go ahead. You may proceed. Go ahead.
May I request our Vice President for the operations, Mindanao operations, VP Vilma Fuentes, to do the operations, please. To do the presentation. VP.
Thank you, VP Lucio. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning sa lahat po ng ating honorable senators who are present in this session today. Magandang umaga din po sa ating mga colleagues. Can I share screen? Kaya again, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na binigay ninyo sa amin upang mapaliwanag ang posisyon ng GSI ukol sa lowering of the mandatory retirement age. Sana po, despite all challenges our country is facing today, everyone is in good spirit. Let me start, Mr. Chair, with our membership coverage, and we submitted to the committee. Alam po na mayroon pong letter asking for our membership coverage, and we have, as of February 2021, we have 1.9 plus active GSIS members, and our pensioners is at 528,000, And with total disbursements of February 21, ito po yung monthly namin na nadi-disburse, is 6 billion plus. The financial standing of GSIS is on screen right now. Our income at 96.47 billion, and the assets at 1.31 trillion, and actuarial life as of 2019 is until 2044. And the claims and benefits paid, this is as of 2019, 122.37 billion. To give the committee updates on the latest programs of GSIS, and because of course, yung mga, because we want to level up in the customer service that we're doing. Salamat sa mga regulations na pinatutupad like the ARTA, and salamat sa ating colleague kay Commissioner Lizada, who is very active in really looking into our agency na para mapaganda po yung serbisyo, because GSIS members indeed deserves an excellent customer experience. That's one of your right. We bundled our services into the GFAL. This is our latest branding, which is Ginhawa for All, bundled into Active, Plus, and Grand. Each package is composed of the various services made available to the market and ensures the welfare of the government employees. With its home-to-home benefits and services, GSIS covers the needs of the nation's servants. If not only caters to the individual, but also assures the assistance is given to the family he belongs to. True to its mission, the system is government employees tunay na ginhawa para sa miyembro, pensionado at pamilya. Mr. Chair and Your Honors, GSA is a social insurance institution. Ito po yung package natin ng mga active members. Andun yung life insurance, retirement, which is the subject of our discussion today. And of course, we have the separation benefits, employees' compensation, unemployment, etc. Again, to our members and their beneficiary, GSIS as a social insurance institution provides benefits to our members and their beneficiaries upon contingency like disability and death. An active member po who dies or become disabled regardless of age and contribution, kahit isang araw pa lang po siyang na-hire sa gobyerno, GSIS pays the death claim. And in 3 years, pag na-disable po ang isang empleyado, regardless of the contribution, GSIS pays benefit and lifetime pension. The GFAL Plus, ito po yung bundle for our inactive members, which we made available for them. We still have PRRD, those who want to restructure their loans, and the general insurance and the Ginhawa services. And the GFAL Grant, which is the pensioners, and our would-be pensioners. Ito po yung dahilan po why GSIS has reservations against the proposal to lower the retirement age of our government employees. In the position paper to the committee secretary explaining the reasons for our position is that it will shorten the fund life of the social insurance fund by about 6 to 12 years. Depending on the Senate bill version, iiksi po talaga ang buhay ng GSIS fund. While lowering the retirement age may benefit people who are already in their 50s, like us, this proposal is detrimental to government employees who are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. Number 2, Mr. Chair, people are now living longer. Pangkaraniwang na lang po ang 8 years old ngayon. In fact, GSIS is even awarding those na maabot po ng 100-year-old. Centennial is part of the package ng bundle namin, yung milestone benefit. Life expectancy in the Philippines continued to rise. And this means that GSIS has to pay pensions at a much longer term than before. Currently, we're paying almost 6 billion pension monthly to 520,000 plus old age and survivorship pension. Wala pa po dyan yung employees' compensation. This demographic shift has long-term effects also on the actuarial life of the fund, which brings me to another point, Mr. Chair. The global trend po right now is countries in the West are not lowering retirement. There are, in fact, increasing the retirement age. Even the ASEAN region, more and more countries are setting 65 as the new mandatory retirement age. Moreover, at the policy level, There are also bills pending in the Congress right now which seeks to increase the retirement age in the military from 56 gagawin ng 60. Tayo naman sa civil servants, 65 is mandatory but 60 our civil servants can also retire. Kung sa military, kung gagawin ng 60 ang retirement age ng AFP at PNP, if both bills become law, there shall exist a situation na baliktad na po ang mga civilian, magre-retiro na ng 55, while ang uniform services, 60 na magre-retiro. But of course, we leave it up to the wisdom of the Senate to decide the issue. Kami po sa GSIS, we are merely implementors of the laws that emanates from Congress. Just to apprise, Mr. Chair, the committee about the contribution of GSIS made so far in the fight against COVID. This might be relevant po in our decisions in the lowering of age. While on lockdown, we continue to serve our members and provided them online platforms where they still can transact. We implemented online loans and claims filing. We have the contactless filing of claims and benefit. GSIS has made sure our pensioners are taken care of. Early release of pension and online appear was implemented and still being implemented, and in fact, already a policy under the new normal. GSIS launched the online appear. In this system, pensioners are given the option to report to GSIS using the FB Messenger, Viber, Zoom, or Skype at the comfort of their respective homes. As part of our continuing response to pandemic, GSIS launched computer loan, MPL, GFAL, EL, and enhanced pension loan. Dati po kasi may limit and may age cap ang ating pension loan. Right now, limit is to 500,000 regardless of age. Previously, only old age pensioners who are 64 years and old and below may avail the maximum amount. Ngayon po, wala na tayong age cap. GSIS acknowledges the unconditional efforts of our frontliners. GSIS provided additional life insurance coverage to a total of 27,682 frontliners of the government nationwide who put their lives at risk in the fight against COVID-19 through the establishment of the Bayanihan Fund for Frontliners. Premium-free po ito na binigay natin. And at the moment, sa February 15, 2021, we already paid 18 beneficiary of our colleagues in the government who succumbed to COVID, which 9 million, and we have 13, we still have 16 awaiting supporting documents from them. This is premium free. This is on top pa po dun sa life insurance coverage na binibigay ng GSIS sa lahat ng kawani ng gobyerno. And there is more. Part of our initiatives in response to COVID, and GSIS adopted 16 ligtas COVID centers nationwide with 500,000 financial assistance po na bibigay natin. And on March 25, 2021, GSIS will launch external payment services or the Bayad Center. This one. And we understand that times have been difficult as we grapple with ongoing pandemic and economic challenges. We partnered with Bayad Center. We both believe that the provision of affordable financing must go hand in hand with convenient payment. Rest assured po that your GSIS is doing everything we can para mapadali, mapabilis, mapa-improve ang customer experience namin. GSIS reservations against the proposal to lower the retirement age of our government employees is because we want to provide a lifelong ginhawa to all government employees with its clear-cut services that responds to all needs and secure the future of the government employees, pensioners, and their family members. That is all. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Vilma. No, we do understand. No, magaganda yung services ng GSIS. So yun nga the reason why we're here para pag-aralan kung paano natin mababalanse lahat. No. Now, can you state for the record yung GSIS yung inyong position on lowering the optional retirement age of government employees? Doon lang tayo sa optional. Okay, who's going to answer for GSIS?
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Attorney Yu.
Yes, Lucio, go ahead.
Our position, even in the House bills, is that we really have serious reservations, even for the lowering of retirement age, optional or mandatory. Our computations and data would show that it will decrease our fund life by about 4 years. No? There are arguments that it is not mandatory but optional. But then again, we have some data also showing that even if optional, there's still a gradual decrease. No? It's not 4 years. It's still a substantial decrease insofar as fund life is concerned. That is as far as finances are concerned, Your Honor. But on the more practical side, we had sample computations also that if you retire early, actually, the pension that you will be receiving if you retire for 56 is lower than when you retired, for example, 60 or 65. And
if you do it, Lucio, no, ikat lang kita. What if we do it 58, for example? Sabi mo, 56. Kung galba, shorten mo lang. 57 or 58. Diba?
Yes, I understand. The bill of the Honorable Senator Gatchalian has that gradual decrease. No?
Correct.
We will ask our actuary to do the computation. But in general, kahit optional ho siya, Your Honor, talagang bababa siya. Now,
that's why you give us the computation, no? At least we know if kung we stagger natin, isa natin, no? 56, 57, 58, 59, no? Para alam lang natin kung ganong kalaking epekto sa inyo, no?
Yes. Our actuary is here, no? So take note, Manager Jen. Please have that study, no? As requested by the Honorable Senator. Again, Your Honor, if trending globally, no? If we speak of trending, our data would show also that most of the ASEAN countries, no, they are trying to increase the retirement age. No? And yesterday we happened to have a meeting with the government pension service of the South Korea, and we asked them point blank, no, since this is a major issues that had been discussed in Congress. Actually, they are trying to increase their retirement age from 60 to 65 though. So that's their trend in South Korea. Yesterday, when we asked the pension service unit of South Korea. So and another advantage, Your Honor, recently we know that there has been an increase in salaries of government employees, and personally, I'm glad that this has been done for government employees, because for me, if to increase the financial and to help for example, our teachers and then government employees, dapat it's the increase of the salaries. And if you had a higher salary and then you retired later, no, mas malaki talaga yung basis for your retirement in computation of pension, rather than if you retire early. So these are just some practical purposes. Aside from the fact that it will lower the retirement, the fund life of GSIS.
So what can you say about Senator Villanueva? Okay, go ahead. Sige.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, to interject. I think it's very important that we hear the GSIS on this. And I was listening attentively to the presentation, and I cannot help but also ask, Mr. Chair, if we have the data from GSIS as to the average income or savings of a retiree from the government. What's the average income or savings ng isang retiree from the government?
Lucio, please answer.
We'll check, sir. No, what we have is that the data from the pensions that they are receiving. No, but in so far as savings, maybe NEDA or other agencies might be total savings. Your Honor.
Well, I'm talking about their average income. So perhaps you would have it, diba? The average income of a retiree.
We can, VPB, can we, baka the pension that they are receiving siguro, Your Honor, we can provide.
May I, sir? May I, Mr. Chair?
Okay.
Yes, please.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Senator, sir, perhaps you're referring to the average pension that we are giving to the pensioners. Because if you say income, pag retiree na po sila, pension, maybe you're referring to the average pension that we are releasing.
You know where I'm going. I'm going to ask also. If you look at our senior citizens or elderly workers who remain in government service despite having the option to retire, this is what I'm driving at. Those who age 60 years old and above with the current law, what is the common reason why they continue to remain in government service?
Well, sir, number one po, Your Honor, nag-stay sila. Their services is not at 15 years, hindi pa sila umaabot. These are yung mga latecomers na nag-enter sa government, so they have to have 15 years. In fact, meron pang iba, kahit 65 na po, hindi pa nakaka-15, so they stayed on. Nagre-request sila sa civil service ng extension ng service if ina-allow. Well, sad to say now, there is a memo circular na hindi na ina-allow talaga ang beyond 65. I don't know if how will CSC, meron kasing issuance ng CSC on that. Second, sir, perhaps they still yung iba, when we conduct pre-retirement counseling, yung iba nga ini-encourage namin at age 60 mag-retire na sila kasi lalo na kung may mga bagong gustong pumasok na napepending ang isang agency, they would ask GSS or help na mapa-conduct nyo ng pre-ret para mag-retire na sila. One reason is it's their passion to be in service. Gusto pa nila magtrabaho. They still love to be at work. That's one reason na sabi ng mga pensioners natin. Third is...
Or siguro pa yung pinakamalaking reason is because they still need money.
Yes, they still need the income, sir. They still need the income. And fourth, malaki pa silang utang na pag nag-retire sila, baka mag-deficit. Kaya kailangan pa nilang mabayaran muna yung mga utang nila. Those are reasons na nakikita namin.
Ma'am. This age group, itong 60 to 65 years old, has the option to get in advance their 5-year pension. However, this might not be adequate for the monthly expenses of money and hence the decision to continue working. If they you also take note, Mr. Chair, yung basic monthly pension is equivalent to 37.5%, if I'm not mistaken, of the revalued average monthly compensation of the pensioner. You know, we are tackling this in the Senate. Yung mga senators natin, we are all very responsible and wanted to talk about this because if you look at RA 9994 or the Expanded Senior Citizens Act of 2010, it recognizes the policy of the state na i-prioritize yung needs of the underprivileged, sick, elderly, disabled, women, and children. But this law also states that the state may design programs of social security for the elderly population. Hence, we really must study further. We wanted to talk about this, debate on this, on how to make optional retirement a reliable option for them. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Senator Villanueva. At the average, how many of our government employees are availing of the optional retirements?
I'll share.
2019. Sige, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll share a screen showing for the last 5 years. For a while.
Andiyan ba?
I'll check.
Ba kayo ng survey sa ganyan?
Sige, I'll just sir. Hindi ko makita. Based on our data, those for the last 5 years, Your Honor, at the age of 65, 51,088 members or 32% retired. And at age 60, around 28,559 or 18%. Age 58, 2,602 or 1.64%. Age 55, 1,848 or 1.17%. Those are the data, Your Honor. So if you'll see, there is a malaking ano pa rin agwat, no, that almost 32% retired age 65 and only 1 point something percent retired at 55. We will submit this data, Your Honor, once we have the clearance of the... It's one of the report that will be submitted to the committee, Your Honor.
Sige, pag-submit lang sa atin kasi based on the data, hindi ganun kalaki, di ba? So, mas maganda para mapag-aralan natin mabuti. Senator Villanueva?
Yes, Mr. Chair, pasensya na at I need to go to another committee. I just would like to pose 1-2 questions lang.
Okay, go ahead.
Nakikita ko si Commissioner Eileen Lizada and I remember hearing from her, I don't know if it's on a radio interview or an article that I read, that she made mention that we have the highest optional retirement age and mandatory retirement age in ASEAN. May we know if that is a legitimate or correct statement, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Commissioner, go ahead.
Madam, Sir Chair, thank you. Senator Villanueva, good morning po. Yes, if later on, if I may be allowed to respond, then it is part of my presentation. South Korea, I just want to put on record, is not part of the ASEAN, yung kinausap po ng GSIS. They are part of ng northern part. Hindi ho sila sa ASEAN. They are not ASEAN members.
Yes.
So we have the mandatory and we have the highest mandatory and optional age of retirement. And just to respond po to Ms. Ma'am Fuentes, while the Office of the President issued the EO on no extensions, we will be communicating with them, and we have communicated with them because there are exceptions po for the 15 years and may Magna Carta po tayo for scientists, allowed po ang extensions.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, and of the career and non-career government workers, how many would fall into the age category of 55 to 59 years old? And how many government workers are age 60 to 65 years old? Do we have that data?
For CSC, we do not have that data po, but probably we can link up with GSIS kasi nasa kanila po yung ages na. Sa amin ho is just we have the pool of the number of HR po nationwide.
Mr. Chair, may I share? Mr. Chair.
Baka pwede pong matanong, yes. Do you have that data, Ma'am Vilma?
Yes, sir. Yung mga retired, if just in case ma-approve, we have the members with total length of service naka 15 years, 55 years old to 64, we have a total of 268,134. Yun yung mga 268,134. Sila yung nasa edad na 55 hanggang 64. I still on active service pero hindi pa nag-retire but naka 15 years na yung service. While
Ma'am, nag-aaral din po ako. I wanted to find out if my records are correct. Dito sa 258,000, that's 17.58% po ba ng government employees natin? Is that correct?
We have 1.9 total government employees, sir.
Yeah.
Tapos, sir, meron pa tayo.
So that's about 17%, almost 20%, 18%.
Yes, we also have 55 to 64 years old but below 15 years of service. Naka 3 years but below 15 years na 44,166.
Yes. And ma'am, in what occupation groups can we find most of our elderly government employees?
Elderly, 64, parang...
Siguro pasubmit na lang, ma'am. Pasubmit na lang po sa committee.
Sir, we submitted these figures to the committee.
Okay pa. I wanted to get it. And do you have also the record as to how many public schools teachers are age 55 to 59 years old and how many public school teachers are age 60 to 65 years old? Meron po kayong record nun?
Yes, sir. Naka-detail po dun sa ano. If can I share screen? Baka po sa mo share lang. Nandito. Or would you like to share this or tingnan ko na nakasubmit na rin naman kami. But anyway, just
submit
for
na
the
lang
record,
para
There's a screen.
Ayun sir, nasa screen na po.
Nasa screen na. These are the data. Pakiano na.
Nasa
These
screen
are
na po.
100.
Wala ko
100
bang mas maliit dyan? Wala akong mas maliit. Mukhang si Senator
Sir
Bong
June.
lang ang malinaw ang mata. Ayun.
Ayun, 101 sir, 101,920 DepEd.
101,000.
Yan po yung mga naka 15 years. Meron pa po tayong below 15 years.
Sa baba, sa baba.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Chair, to end lang po, no, I think what I'm trying to emphasize here is the importance to work in coordination with the 55 to 59 and 60 to 65 age groups regarding this policy, because earlier optional and mandatory retirement age will have implications for their savings and investment decisions. I think it's important also. So,
That's right.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, Senator Villanueva. Okay. Siguro pakinggan din natin yung nandito ba DBM? DBM? Nandito ba ang DBM? Please acknowledge. So, who would like to okay, Commissioner Lizada. Okay, you're recognized.
Thank you. This is just brief. I hope Senator thank you, Chair. I hope Senator Villanueva will be around. Mabilis lang po. May I be allowed, Mr. Chair, to do a brief presentation para maintindihan nyo where we are coming from for the 1.9 million government employees.
Okay, go ahead. Sige.
Thank you. We will start our share screen po. Okay. In 2019, umikot na po kami, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And in the next slides, you will see all of them raising hands po, no? These are consultations with the NGAs, HR management practitioners, local government unit, technical working group meetings po. All of them are for the lowering of the optional age of retirement. Mga pagod na po ang mga kawani ng gobyerno. I'll give you a comparative study, but I will not go into the details. I just want you to see that South Korea is not part of this study po, ano? So, then we go to the slide of the Philippines has the oldest mandatory and optional age of retirement. 65 and 60 po.
Philippines has the oldest. Importante itong
Mandatory. Opo. And GSIS now tells us, hindi natin kaya kasi iiksi yung pondo and magsasuffer po yung ating funds. So let us go to the next slide. The issue on affordability. We have raised this in the lower house. We will raise this again. While GSIS showed us ano yung binibigay nila sa mga empleyado, we would like to see the backside of things. How are they handling the funds? First, ang gusto ko nating malaman, and we would like to get hard data from them, hopefully through this committee hearing po. Number one, what is the net worth of GSIS? Number two, magkano po yung total premiums received by GSIS as it's from its members? Number three, GSIS confirmed that they are treating the premiums being paid as income and not as trust. If it is income, iba ho ang ating pag-expend niyan. Pag trust, dapat hinahawakan po natin yan para sa investment to secure the viability of the funds, of the institution funds for its members. Next, what are the perks and allowances of GSIS na binibigay po nila? Because we were told that a certain level ng kanilang ng hierarchy, car loan is 50% subsidized by GSIS and 50% ay nasa empleyado po. Saan ho galing itong pondo na to? Number three, there is a 3-step adjustment increment. Saan ho ang source ng fund ito? Because this increases the salaries, the wages of the employees. Dumaan ba ho ito sa GCG? With the approval ba ho ito ng Office of the President? Because when you talk about compensation standards, when you talk about salary adjustments, it passes the Office of the President. Approval po nila. Next, they were able to give in 2018 260 million, meaning 100,000 to members po ng GSIS, about 90+%. Saan galing ho yung pera? Next. Retirement program of GSIS. I just want to show po the retirement program of GSIS para malaman ho natin. Next slide. This is a screenshot po of a case na umabot po sa Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court nullified resolutions of GSIS. Sa left side po makikita nyo 17 million ang matatanggap ng GSIS employee, whereas sa right side po ang matatanggap ng GSIS member is only 1.7 based on Republic Act 1616. So na-compare na po ito ng Supreme Court and they nullified both resolutions. Next. Marami ko silang pinapakitang serbisyo, but let us see. Ombudsman, CSE, we say that we dismiss a case and then meron hong forfeiture of benefits. Magkano po yung total amount na na-forfeit ng GSIS at ano na ho nangyari doon? Sa mga single na mga walang qualified beneficiaries, ano na po ang nangyari sa kanila? Because there is no policy for GSIS as regards the amounts for singles. LGBTQI+, what about them? They are part of the system. Solo parents with no dependent children. Pag 18 years old, hindi na ho pwedeng maging beneficiary. Ano na ho nangyayari doon sa amounts or sa figures na ito? Next. The law provides for 2 benefits, Sir Chair, but the IRR of GSIS only grants 1. Saan ho nangyari? Ano ho nangyari dito at saan ho pumunta yung pera? The same is true with the solo and single parents. Dalawa po yung benefits na binibigay ng batas, pero the IRR only gives 1. Next. Total. How much have been forfeited in favor of government? Did GSIS use these funds? If yes, how? GCG was created para ho meron tayong transparent and responsive needs to the public. But we cannot get this data, the whole data po, no? Because if they say they cannot afford it, show us the data that you cannot afford it. But we can also show you that meron ho kayong mga pondo na nasa inyo. Next. I'm ending na po, Chair. When one retires, dalawa lang ho nangyayari. Good medical condition or bad medical condition. Marami na hong may sakit sa hanay ng gobyerno. The solution is not to pass on to its members an increased premium, or when you say actuarial life is shortened, it is not shortened. I'm sorry. It may be shortened, but let us talk about the lives of these 1.9 million government employees. The GSIS was created, paramount consideration ay empleyado ng gobyerno, hindi empleyado ng GSIS. Unahin ho natin yung buong bureaucracy. Lowering is not detrimental. Sir, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. This is a very valid questions, no? I think it should be answered. Pakisagot nyo, GSIS, para mapakinggan naman natin. Masagot nyo yung katanungan na yun. Lucio, please answer.
Okay, Your Honor, there are a lot of questions and the issues raised there, but I'll try to answer them if I can recall, Your Honor. Anyway, during the House hearing yesterday, I was trying to ask for a copy of the good commissioner of this of her presentation. Initially, Your Honor, the good commissioner has been going around forums, and GSIS has attended in some hearings. We have already explained every time she presented those data. But then again, Your Honor, we will present before this committee, just to assuage the honorable senators and members of the committee and the public that GSIS has not been doing what Commissioner Lisada, the good commissioner, has been painting all this time. Anyway, here are the answers, Your Honor. The present actuarial life of GSIS is around, based on 2019 data. Again, let me emphasize for the information of the good commissioner, when we say that it is not favorable to GSIS because the fund life will decrease, we are not saying that we have no money, not necessarily like that. So I hope this would be clarified, Your Honor. So the fund life now is 2044 based on 2019 data. And if our study would show if there will be a optional retirement age of 56, it will lower to 20, for example, 40 or 39. But it doesn't mean to say that we no longer have the money. We're not saying that. Definitely not saying that, Your Honor. Secondly, how many members are not that are covered? Of course, DepEd, GFIs, GOCCs, LGUs, NGAs, no? And we will be submitting the details of this as I shown earlier, no? How many active members. Each bracket, do they belong? Ayun, pinakita na kanina, no? The percentages at the network is as of December 31, 2020, for the information of the Good Commissioner and the committee, it's 1.398 trillion. So that answers all the questions about net worth of GSIS. The total monthly premium received by GSIS from the members is 134 billion. In relation to this, Your Honor, the Good Commissioner has been trying to project that why these are why these are recorded as income for the benefit of the public in the Good Commissioner. Under the present accounting rules, the accrual method of accounting mandates that premiums be recorded as income. Now, if the concern of the Good Commissioner is that baka gagamitin to kung ano-ano, no. Number one, our charter provides that our administrative operating expenses has a limit. That is, it should not exceed 12%. And social insurance fund, which consists of premiums, are to be used exclusively for social insurance benefits. So do not worry, ma'am. Even if these are recorded as income, as of today, ma'am, because I know there is a new accounting standard which mandates that this be recorded as liabilities. That is another issue, Your Honor, that will be discussed in the near future. But as of now, it is treated as income in accordance with accounting principle. And wag kong mag-alala, these are for the benefits of the members, ma'am. So next, what is the breakdown of expenditures? Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are limited to 12% under the charter. And for 2020, we only spend 3.53% of the 2020 income. So way below the 12%, ma'am. That is an overall expense. So I hope this data would clarify whatever misunderstanding that you had with GSIS. Yes, and that is the answer. Number 7. It treats the monthly premium as income in the books using accrual method under Philippine Accounting Standard number 1, which provides that recognition of income in the books when earned regardless of when it is paid. In 2025, we will be adopting IFRS 17. No? That is the time that premiums will be recognized, no longer recognized as income. Well, the GSS spends much of its income, which are premiums paid by more or less to finance the benefits. Doon mo mapupunta ho yun, ma'am. So, I hope this will not be equated by our increase in salaries, some issues on COA. Of course, these are part of the administrative expenses. Any government institution will be paid salaries. But under the charter, we are regulated, very much regulated, that all premiums should be exclusively for the benefits of the members. That is why, Your Honor, if you will notice, in some of the hearings, so in some of the bills that even the Senate is tackling, we are also trying to protect the GSIS fund because various bills also mandates that we contribute to some other fund other than purposes of social insurance benefits. Now, we would like to inform the Good Commissioner that GSIS has always been very consistent in saying that this should not be because it should be for the benefits of the members. And how much GSIS has forfeited within 5 years, the data would show that, nasa annexes, no? But I don't know if we can share that screen. For a while lang, if I can.
Mr. Chair, I think we heard enough.
Natin, baka mag-away pa kayo. And Senator Villanueva.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I was about to leave when I was asked to stay a little longer, and I was listening attentively to the presentation of our good commissioner from CSC. If I'm not mistaken, the word is not wala o hindi kaya o walang pera ang GSIS, but it's more of affordability. Is that correct, ma'am? Yun yung concerns na binabanggit po ninyo, that yung GSIS concerns on the affordability of the proposed amendment with regard to pursuing these bills are unfounded. Is that what you're saying?
Sir Chair, may I respond po? Thank you. Yes, sir. Kaya ho nila. It's affordability po.
Kaya nila. So mamaya ipapaubaya ko na po kay Senator Bong Revilla yung mas malalakas na fireworks mamaya. Pero bago po ako umalis, ma'am, may question ho ako dun sa opportunities for the next generation of civil servants. Kung mangyari po ito, no? Because I think you have a data, perhaps you can share it with us, for studies indicating that vacancies created directly or indirectly as a result of lower retirement age will be readily filled. Is that correct, ma'am?
Sir, sorry, would you need from us ano po?
A data or anything, studies indicating that yung vacancies po that might be created directly or indirectly, hindi naman magiging malaking problema. Kasi gusto rin natin mapag-usapan po yan, possibilities na pagka nawala po sila, hindi naman mabilis na mapifill upan itong mga positions in government.
Sir, just to give you a concrete example, when CSE posted one publication po of a vacant position po, there were like 200 na gustong pumasok.
Wow.
Ganun no, ang dami ho naghahanap ng trabaho. Ang dami na rin ho sa gobyerno, sa mga kawani ng gobyerno. They also want to rest already and be with their families or do another chapter of their lives. That's but we're saying sana lowering to 56, but you remain the mandatory para makahabol pa rin ho sila sa 15 years sana.
Okay, ma'am, thank you for that. No, at least it's said that if in case it will not result to staffing shortages.
Definitely hindi po.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry. I have to go to another hearing. I have 2 more hearings. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Villanueva. At least na-enlighten tayo dyan. But anyway, civil, sino yan? Okay, Lucio?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me go back. Yung kanina, Attorney Van, yung Annex D ba? I think we had the data on the issue of, these are balik-balik, Attorney Van. Anyway, Annex C would show that these are the claims for the benefit of the good commissioner. These are the members that have no claim, no? So because they are dismissed. So we had around 572 members. That the length of service is more than 15 years. We had 391 members at the length of service is equal to more than or equal to 3 years but less than 15 years. And yung mga amount nila ng loans. And next slide. So these are the forfeiture benefits, Mr. Chair. So these are the data. In other words, Mr. Chair, actually what happened here, if they are no longer entitled to the benefit because one way or the other, they have been dismissed, my decision that they have been dismissed from service, usually kasama ko kasi yan forfeiture benefits, no? Grade misconduct, for example. So they can no longer claim their retirement benefit. However, contrary to what has been presented by the good commissioner, it will just be part of the SIS fund, no? Because these are part of the premiums, SIS funds. Hindi yun naman mawawala yan, it will be reallocated to somewhere else. So it will be part of the SIS funds, Ma'am Commissioner, no? And so it will part of our income, no? It will part of the books of the GSIS kung magkano yung social insurance fund. So those are the what happened when there will be a forfeited, because we cannot also dispense these benefits because it will be against the law. But it doesn't mean to say na mawawala na yan. And we
So,
are...
saan napupunta yung ganun? Yung hindi na nakukuha na benepisyo? So,
Well, it will form part of the social insurance fund, part of the fund of the GSIS.
okay,
Because we cannot disburse this anymore. But if there are loans, kaya kanina pinipresent namin kung may loans, it will be deducted, no? So based on our data rin, after deduction, deficit pa nga. So actually there were no savings. If we will look at their loans also, may mga loans to, we have to consider those loans. Now yung loans naman, mawawala yung loans nila. Then it will be considered paid and deficit. Ganun no yan. Deficit din ng ano dyan. So,
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
Dagdag lang po ako dun sa, just to clarificatory lang po at dagdag sa sinabi ni Attorney Lucio, yung tanong mo kung saan napupunta yung mga ganyang benefits na hindi nababayad. Sir, please take note po, Mr. Chair, din na we are also paying yung wala mga premium payments pa. And we paid them benefits for life. Dahil nga social insurance institution, yung sample ko kanina, kahit isang araw pa lang pong nakapasok isang empleyado and namatay yung employee, wala pang premium payment, we pay ang kanyang total life insurance, yung death claim. And kahit tatlong taon pa lang po na nag-contribute, pero na-disable, na disability, we pay the pension for life. Lifetime po yun. At pag namatay naman si member, andun pa rin yung surviving spouse to get the survivorship benefit. So, you might be wondering or questioning kung saan napupunta yung mga ganun. Perhaps it's also a question to sustain sa mga binabayaran natin, sinasubsidize na wala mga premium payment, but we are committed to pay their social insurance benefits
So,
for life.
may guidelines kayo sinusunod sa paggagamit ng funds na katulad nun? Meron kayong guidelines?
It's part in the benefits. Nasa Republic Act 8291 din po yun.
Okay. Sige, continue.
Sir Lucio? Attorney Lucio?
Okay, Van, okay, about those members, solo parents.
Attorney Lucio, Mr. Chair, again, if I may. Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Doon sa mga solo parents at saka yung mga walang mga single, kasi I'm also a solo parent, yung mga single na walang sinasabi ni the good commissioner na what if they die, may nangyari, saan na pupunta ang kanilang benefit. May mga legal heirs naman po tayo. Ang nawawala lang naman doon po yung monthly pension kasi wala nang qualified to receive a monthly pension, which are yung spouse or kung may dependent na minor. Kung wala naman, a single parent na mga legal age na mga anak, kung sino yung legal beneficiary, on legal heirs niya in case of death na nasa service pa siya, makukuha naman nila ang benefit po. Ang pension lang ang nawawala. May benefit din kung sinong legal heirs natin. Attorney Lucio?
Yes, thank you, VPB. So as to the questions of what about solo parents, etc., those that are not qualified to have any benefits. So the same answer, no? If they have no beneficiary, then these benefits that could have been entitled to them will form part of the social insurance fund, and that will iikot lang ho yan. That will be part of the overall fund for the benefit of the other members. No? So next. The prescribed, no? There are issues. So, halimbawa, because our separation benefit, Mr. Chair, you have to file it, no? Those that have, for example, less than 15 years, you are entitled to separation benefits of the GSIS, but you have to file it within 4 years under the present law. Saan daw napupunta? So, Annex E, Attorney Van. So, these are the members who are qualified for cash payment benefits, no? Sana but they file it beyond the 4-year period. So ito na yun, estimated amount around 1.6 billion. But we have to consider mga unpaid loans, no? So around 2.2 billion. So deficit. Actually, it's not the savings. So after deducting the loan, there is a deficit. So there are no savings as far as social insurance fund. So next, Attorney Van, balik dun sa ano.
So ibig sabihin, puro kayo deficit. So paano kayo nakakasurvive?
No, sir. Meaning instead of savings, instead of sabi na sana punta yung dapat mabibigay sa miyembro, 1.6 billion. Walang savings doon because may utang ho tong mga members na to, we have to deduct. So in effect, may deficit pa. So anyway, it doesn't mean to say naman overall.
So may deficit, saan nyo kinukuha yung pagka kulang, aga-abono kayo? So saan nyo kinukuha yung pondo?
The overall SIF naman, Your Honor, is still hindi naman deficit. Ito lang particular claim, yung sasabi niya, yung mga na-prescribe. It is only part and parcel of the fund. Pero yung overall fund, hindi deficit. Yung overall fund is not deficit. What data I was showing is that yung mga prescribed claims na yung mga anong effect. Kasi the Good Commissioner is trying to ask saan daw napunta yung mga portion na yun. So those are the answers.
Continue.
Okay, Annex F. The Good Commissioner also mentioned about our separate retirement plan, Annex F. Okay, first of all, we would like to inform the committee, Mr. Chair, that GSIS has no separate early retirement programs as a matter of common practice, actually. No? Although we had a early retirement programs around 3 or 4. No? I started with the year October 17, 2000. Meron binibigay doon na Employee Loyalty Incentive Plan or ELIP. It is a early retirement program. This is the one that the Good Commissioner said that was disallowed by COA and nullified by the Supreme Court. Ano ang ginagawa ng GSIS? Right now, we are trying to collect from the concerned officers and employees through salary deduction from their pension or collection case in court. Anyway, we do not have a separate retirement program. So that's 2000. Then another one we had in 2000. Next, baba pa ba? We had another one in, I think 2007, Your Honor, but that is because we have a reorganization ng GSIS. So we again offered an early retirement program, which even the CSC would acknowledge na meron naman talagang early retirement program if you will have a reorganization. So that's 2000, I think 7. And there is another one, Your Honor, in 2011, which is at the time of President Aquino. But this time, the early retirement program was offered again because there was a reorganization. But this time, I understand, yung reorganization na yun, Your Honor, was approved by the GCG, the newly created GCG, and of course, then President Aquino. So these are the only early retirement programs that were offered, but we have no separate, as a matter of rule, we have no separate early retirement program to GSIS employees and officers, other than what is provided for with the same with other government employees and officers. So I hope we had clarified this, that contrary to the perception that we actually don't have a separate retirement program. So next. Well, on the issue of early retirement, we have discussed that earlier. So, pababa. So yun, no? We considered that, for example, optional, saka mo na ban. Balik. So, yung table 1. So, if we consider the present retirement age of 60-65, so fund life is around 2045, no? Actually, bumababa na yan, 2044. And if we consider 56 optional retirement age, 55 retirement age, so bababa siya no 2041 and 2040. So, next. Next. Okay. That's all for some of the issues that were raised by the good commissioner in the various fora and the presentation. To answer the issue on compensation, actually, our compensation, just like the other GOCCs, are no longer competitive, Your Honor. As you will know, we are already under GCG, and until now wala pa ho silang CPCS or yung compensation package for GOCCs, while other government employees nag-increase na ho tayo, pero sa GOCCs wala pa. And secondly, talking about car plan is a incentive given to even in any other government agency. And hindi ho naman, loan ho yan sa amin. I have a car plan but I am paying it for 10 years. Yung subsidy lang ho, applicable lang ho ng higher officials like SBT. And I hope it should not be taken against GSIS. These are not unusual benefits that were given by GOCCs. And nothing in relation to lowering of retirement age, Your Honor. So that is
Right,
thank you, Your Honor. I hope we have clarified. Actually, Your Honor, we would be submitting all of these reports that we have presented to the committee, Your Honor.
Okay, then thank you very much, Lucio, for that. And we will give CSC a copy of your submission para at least mabigyan din ng pagkakataon na marinig ng lahat, And Commissioner Lisada, hope satisfied ka naman doon sa sagot ng GSIS.
Actually, Chair, may I respond to your question?
Okay, sige, go ahead.
Thank you. What I'm pointing out here po is the propensity of GSIS to circumvent some laws. Kung hindi ho na-discover ng COA yon, hindi ho natin malalaman na meron silang dalawang board resolutions increasing whatever benefits they have na hindi ho allowed ng COA at hindi ho alam ng presidente. Also, they also have a propensity not to follow the law because their IRR on solo parents are not compliant with the law. So, yun lang ho yung point ko dito. I see yung background po niya, ginhawa for all. Sana all, hindi lang ho GSIS employees. Kung ganun ho sila kasipag mag-isip para sa mga empleyado, sana ganun din sila kasipag mag-ayos ng ating fund para ho sa buong bureaucracy. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, Madam, Mr. Chair, may I reply to that? I forgot those are the remaining issues that I have not responded to. On the presentation of the good commissioner on the supposedly equity increase of our salary. Actually, for the benefit of the good commissioner, that is a benefit galing servisyo, which is actually a part of the civil service resolution. And the civil service acknowledge that. So, I don't know how the information got to you, my good commissioner. Actually, it's a incentive award given, sanctioned by civil service. And secondly, yung equity na sinabi mo 3-step, it is also part of the civil service rules that if you had a very satisfactory performance rating for at least 2, you are entitled to increment. Increment, Your Honor, is not part of an increase in salary. Increment is one performance incentive sanctioned by the civil service that is given to employees. And thirdly, even assuming it is increased, our position has been under the charter, Your Honor, if you'll observe, section 41, it is very clear that the president and the board has the authority to establish the compensation package. Now, I would not debate here, Your Honor, the impact of the GCG law. We are part of the GCG law. We recognize that. But these are salaries structure given way before the GCG law. And so, Your Honor, I hope this will not be misunderstood by the public, Your Honor. And we're not against. We're not giving ourselves too much benefits to the detriment of the members, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just one point lang po.
I think this is not the right venue to para magkaaway-away tayo. I think we should go back to our topic, doon sa lowering ng retirement age. So we have yet to hear other research persons, not marami pa, no? So sige, as you have stated, GSIS can afford to implement this measure should it become a law. But the actuarial life will be affected. Now, meron ba kayong recommendation para naman kung may viability yung viability of the fund life is not undermined?
Your Honor, thank you for that question. Actually, Your Honor, we are exploring the possibility of this is subject to actuarial study, no, on our giving discount factor, no. So instead of receiving 100%,
Turn off nga yung mic, paki-mute nga yung iba, yung hindi tinatawag. Christina Manalo, please turn off your...
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Your Honor, as a counter proposal, we are studying whether instead of giving a full 100%, we will just give a discount factor, no, to all those who will retire earlier. So that is one or two measures that we are trying to study, no, on how to deal with in case this bill will become a law. So that Your Honor, but we are still the study is still ongoing, Your Honor. So discount factor, if you will retire earlier than 60 and 65.
Sige, pakisubmit na lang sa committee, no? Kung paano. Okay, siguro pakinggan naman natin yung iba nating resource persons. Sino gusto bang magsalita about the issue?
Mr. Chair, teachers, Jocelyn.
ACT?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
Tanggal lang sa screen tong yung active members, yung GSIS something. Pakitanggal nga para nakikita ko lang kung sino yung nag-raise ng hands so that we can recognize them.
Thank you po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat sa pag-iimbita po sa hearing na ito para sa lowering of the optional retirement ng mga government employees kasama po yung mga teachers bilang pinakamalaking bilang ng miyembro ng GSIS. Kung susubaybayan po natin mula pa po nung 16 Congress noong 2015 na file na po itong LORA, itong lowering of optional retirement age sa Congress, hindi po nakaabot po ng committee level noong 2015, na-refile po noong 2016 at naabot po ng third reading at noong 18 Congress po ay naipasa at na-transmit nga noong 2019 sa Senado. Mula po noong 2015 ay kasama po yung ACT Philippines na nag-deliberate dito, kasama po namin si CSC Commissioner Lisada at sabi ko nga po 920,000 na po yung mga miyembro, mga teachers na miyembro po ng GSIS. Sa hanay po naming mga teachers, ang panawagan po namin mula pa noon, alam niyo po Mr. Chair, school-based, division-based, regional-based, national-based, nag-iikot po kami. At tama po si Secretary Lizada, napaka-overwhelming po talaga nung clamor ng mga teachers po, mga public school teachers, na ibaba na po yung retirement age. Anyway, optional naman po ito. Optional naman po. Kung gusto naman po na dire-diretso pa, meron po tayo hanggang 65 years old. So mas lalo po sa panahon ngayon, napaka-justified po dahil sa panahon ng pandemya po, ng kasalukuyang panahon ay tingin naman po namin talaga ay nararapat na to. Una, may limitasyon na po yung galaw ng ating mga senior citizens. O meron nga po na bawal na silang lumabas. So yung pong mga senior citizen natin, limited na po yung galaw nila. So kumbaga po hindi talaga yung buong-buo na sila doon sa distance learning. Pangalawa po, may kakapusan po sila doon sa technology. Marami po sa atin, mga not so old teachers, talagang mahina na po sa technology. Yun na po yung panahon ngayon. So, yung pangatlo po, yung risk, yung stress po ng distance learning ngayon na talagang hindi na po talaga nakakasabay. Sa ganito pong kalagayan, hindi na may enjoy nung 60 years old yung kanyang retirement fully. So hindi na ngiti yung sasalubong kundi yung mga sakit ng katawan na po kapag siya po ay nag-retire ng 60 years old. At ang kanya pong magiging retirement, yung kanya magiging pension ay tama lamang po talaga na pambili ng mga medisina para po doon sa kanyang mga sakit-sakit na sa katawan. Pangalawa po, ang pagtuturo po sa panahon ngayon ay napaka-challenging. Una po, yung working hours po, hindi na po kaya yung dinidefine ng DepEd na 6 hours actual classroom teaching. Ganun po kasi yung nasa memorandum. 6 hours actual po na dire-diretso, hindi na po talaga kaya ng 60 years old. At idagdag pa po yung class size. Yung class size po natin, average, ay kailangan po sa elementary ay 42.4, tapos kung secondary po ay 43.7. Pag may ganyan na po kayong bilang ng mga bata, at yung mga senior citizen po talaga natin ay hindi na niya makakaya ito. At kaya po yung quality ng pagtuturo rin ay syempre humihina na yung katawan nila. So compared to other countries po, di hamak na mas mahirap po yung pagtuturo sa Pilipinas given those conditions. At bukod pa doon ay nahuhuli po ng 5 taon yung pagretiro namin kumpara po sa ibang bansa. So dapat pong bigyan din natin ng makataong konsiderasyon yung mga 60 years old na dapat ay makapag-retire na po ng 55. Bakit po sa mga military ay napagbigyan po ito at kagaya po nung kaninang sinasabi na magkakaroon naman po ng employment din yung ating mga bagong workforce. Napakarami pong mga graduate ng education na pupuno po doon sa mga magre-retire natin. So ito po ay magdudulot din ng employment sa ating mga unemployment. So yun po, sana po GSIS, yung pong serbisyo sa miyembro, wag po nating gawing negosyo. Maraming salamat po, sir.
Okay. Saka yung if you have a position on this, pakisubmit na lang sa committee. No? Okay. What about you, Benjo? Benjo Pasas? Are you representing the government employees?
I'm the chairperson of the teachers.
Organization of government employees. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes,
You're recognized.
Yes, government employees, no. Mukhang enough has been said, no, doon po. Yeah, thank you, sir, no, doon sa katamaan, kawastuhan, katupakan itong bill, no, na pinanukala sa Senado na ninyo po, no, Mr. Chair, at ng iba pa natin mga senador. At pinasana, no, doon sa committee sa lower house, no, at sana po ay ganun din na din kabilis. Isa na lamang naman ang pare-pareho din dito concern, and that is the opposition, no, made by the GSIS, no. At mukhang GSIS na lamang naman ang humahad lang dito sa patuloy, no, pag sa batas dito.
Okay, just submit your position paper na lang. Halos siguro ganun the same sentiment. So,
natin ipakita, no, sa GSIS.
okay, siguro, no, napakisubmit na lang yung position paper.
Gusto ko lamang pong i-release ito. May mga issue po ka, ng GSIS. Sige po, sir. No, we have submitted some at ito
okay. Para mapaiksi lang natin.
I
understand your point. So, para ma-shorten lang natin. So, can we hear from organizations of government employees? Para marinig naman natin sila. Sino po ang nag-represent sa government employees? Ann? Miss Ann?
Good
Yes,
morning, Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. This is Attorney Rachel Miguel of the Department of Education. Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
sige.
just to give the department's initial inputs to this bill, subject to our submission of a more detailed position paper. If I may, Mr. Chair, again, good morning to the members of this committee and also to our resource speakers. Relative to the Senate Bill 715 and 958, lowering the retirement age of teachers from 60 to 55 years old, the Department of Education respectfully conveys its recognition on the importance of the bills. When allowing the early retirement of teachers to 55 years old will give them time to enjoy their families and perhaps venture in other productive activities or employment. Right now, Mr. Chair, and we agree with the figures of Commissioner Lizada just presented a while ago, that but perhaps the figures as presented pertain to all the DepEd employees. In our figure, there are around 80,000 teachers who are 56 years and above, and this is around 10% of our total teaching workforce. And
How
also
many
for the
thousands?
information of, it's around 10%, Mr. Chair. 10% of the
10% equivalent to,
teaching workforce. That's
okay,
around
10%.
80,000
80,000.
employees in our data, Mr. Chair. And for the
Okay.
information also of this committee, in terms of numbers, our teaching workforce is quite young. Around 1/3 of our field positions belong to 35 years and below. And more than 50% of our workforce belongs to the age range 35 to 55 years old. So, Mr. Chair, as the department moves towards competency-based assessment in our recruitment, selection, and promotion of teachers, because right now, Mr. Chair, if I may share to the committee, the DepEd has ongoing initiatives on transforming its promotional system into competency-based promotion, which means that it will not be, the promotion of our teachers will not be dependent on the creation of natural vacancies. When we say natural vacancies, ito po yung pag may namamatay, may nagre-retire na teachers, or may nagre-resign na teachers, saka lang po nagkakaroon ng vacancy. But if we will move to really an authentic competency-based promotion, they will be promoted based on their competency. So given these figures, as mentioned, we are seeing that there will be an opportunity for the young teaching workforce to be promoted based on their competencies, not on the existence of vacancies brought about by retirement or other modes of separation, natural vacancies. Nevertheless, Mr. Chair, considering that 1/3 of our workforce is 34 years old and below, we are also seeing a lot of vacancies in the coming years should this personnel opt to retire early. So this will be an opportunity for the young labor force and our students, especially, to pursue a career in education. And with this, we hope that it will give premium to the teaching profession. And at the same time, on the other side of the coin, since a lot of our workers are young, it is also in the department's interest to protect the benefits of our workers. Because when this large chunk of workers will retire sabay-sabay, kailangan pong ma-ensure din ng department that when they retire, they're given the optimum benefits. I just heard the presentation of our partner in GSIS, and I think yun po yung kailangan din nating pag-aralan mabuti, meaning when these young employees retire, mabibigay po natin yung optimum benefits which are now being enjoyed by our present retirees. That's all, Mr. Chair. We will be submitting our detailed position paper.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ann. Siguro, pakinggan naman natin ang DBM, kung ano naman yung stand nila. Okay, DBM, you are now recognized. Please
Good
state your
morning. Yes, good morning, Your Honor. This is Malu Aganon from the Organization Position Classification and Compensation Bureau. I just have two short points. Number one, the lowering of compulsory and retirement age will invariably increase the number of pensioners. As of November 2019, this is based on the data of national government agencies. There are approximately 224,000 employees who are already at the age of 55 and above. Hence, the proposed legislative measure may increase the number of pensioners by the same range. The significant increase in the number of pensioners might put at risk the solvency of the Social Insurance Fund, which is being managed by the GSIS. May we highlight that the GSIS does not receive any budgetary support from the national government as it is mandated to be self-sustaining. Number two, may we highlight that Senate Bill numbers 715 and 958 partake the nature of class legislation inasmuch as it covers only the public school teachers, which is generally shunned as it contravenes the Equal Protection Clause of the 1987 Constitution. Hence, the DBM recommends that the subject bills be studied in the light of the mentioned observations. We also defer to the comments of the GSIS, which may conduct an actuarial study to ensure the financial viability and sustainability of the proposed bills. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. No, please submit your position paper to the committee if you have so. No, and then ano itong magiging epekto ng pagbaba ng optional retirement age sa ating national budget? Halimbawa sa allocation for personal services, retirement, and gratuity fund, etc.
Sir, dadami lang naman po yung vacancies. Kaya lang po kasi sa teachers, pinopondahan naman din po natin siya, field and unfilled, and as well as din sa mga health personnel.
So dadami ang vacancy. So marami din naman
mavavacate po.
Marami namang walang trabaho. So at least magbibigyan ng pag-asa itong mga bagong mga magiging teachers o kung ano may mga employees, no? So ano magiging epekto nito sa budget ng mga local government units, for example?
Sir, I don't have data kasi on the number of local government units eh. Sir, ang mangyayari lang din po dyan, siguro kung bababa, invariably po kasi i-fill up din naman po siya kasi ng bagong incumbents. So parang wala rin naman po siyang changes siguro.
So wala ding changes. Sige.
Mr. Chair,
Para natin, I'm sure gutom na kayo.
Mr. Chair,
Who would like to? Please state your name, ma'am.
I'm Christina Manalo from the Philippine Public School Teachers Association. Sir, laban na po namin to, kaya hirit na po kami. What makes the teachers situation peculiar that they do not just sit down and do office works. They have to deal with 200, 300 to 300 warm bodies with individual differences and attitudes every day, and their work is not simply 6 to 8 hours, they work 24/7. Sir, if the goal of the government is towards quality, equitable, and significant relevant education, then we really have to highlight this. When teachers reach the age of 50 plus, and with the digital age or space, gusto na lang ng iba na mag-TikTok na lang, mag-Facebook o mag-OMG games. Some of them are already technophobic. They have already this fear of tinkering with the different multimedia applications in teaching at ayaw na rin po nilang mag-webinar. Having spent the best years of their lives teaching and serving the country, some of them are already looking forward to retiring from the service early for health or medical reasons, or being burnt out with the system, or maybe go into another business venture or go for an adventure while they still can. On one hand, let us not deny our 50s plus year old teachers these opportunities, and on the other hand, offer these opportunities to the pool of young, able, dynamic, and digital natives who are more capable and have the willingness of adapting to the challenges of the digital economy to be hired by the Department of Education. Nonetheless, hindi natin dapat kalimutan that our noble senior teachers have also their shares in hurdling the demands of the 21st century teachers. Now, it's like this, sir. Pag nag-retire po ang teacher at 55, papasok po yung may opportunity na pumasok yung mga bagong teachers. Ito po mas maganda kasi mag-retire sila, mas higher ang salary grade level nila. Pag nag-hire po ng bagong teacher at ang lower salary grade, edi mas maganda pa rin sa DBM po yon. At saka po, hindi po natin, kasi may mga 65 years old na nag-retire, na nagiging principal pa ng private schools, option na po nila yon. Pero ang teacher talaga at age 55, we really have to give them that opportunity. Anyway, optional lang naman po ito. Marami po salamat.
That's right. Mapalakpak oh. Anyway.
Ito
Actually, kakampi nyo naman kami. Ang tinitingnan lang natin dito kung paano natin mababalance yan lahat. Anyway, as you said, optional lang, no? Anyway, before we end, I would just like to remind our resource persons to submit to the committee the data and the documents requested from them, no? GSIS, yung computation on the effect of the lowering optional retirement age to different ages. Example, 57 years old and 58 years old. Paki-submit na lang po sa amin, no? Tapos GSIS to provide us information on the average income, savings, and pension of retiree, no? Tapos CSC to provide data on the vacancies that will be created by lowering the retirement age. So, yun po, baka meron pang gusto magsalita.
Mr. Chair?
Ayun. Okay, from Senro CIU, Elpidio. Go ahead. I can't hear you. Pinatay mo yung mic mo. Naririnig ka namin kanina. Pinatay mo. Nakamute ka na.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Ang position po namin ito, we support yung lowering kung ito ay makakatulong do sa mga talagang pagod na. Pero ang dapat makita rin po yung mga salary grade 1 to 9 which is the level 1, ano yung sitwasyon nila. Kahit sa hinihinging data sa GSIS, dapat ma-segregate yung dalawang level. Kasi iba po ang sitwasyon ng salary grade 1 to 9, which is ang salary grade na pinakamababang sweldo niya ay pagka na ipapatupad yung SSL 5, 13,000. Nag-compute po kami, pwede may mangyari na isang level 1 na employee ay 5,000 lang ang kanya magiging pension kada buwan, which is below the food threshold of 7,000. Paano pa ibang pangangailangan niya? Dapat makita rin po yung nasa level 1 na mga empleyado sa pagtalakay dito sa batas na ito. Kasi po ito po yung mga naiwanan doon sa SSL 5 na masyadong naiwanan na lumaki ang gap nung nasa level 2 at level 3 sa government. Ito po yung nasa kawawang sitwasyon. Pangalawa po, kung ang mag-isang option po ay magdagdag ng premium, hindi dapat ito to the expense ng active member. Kung magdadagdag man, kailangan may benefits rin yung mga active member. Kasi hindi magandang practice na sasaluhin ng active member yung mga pensioner. Sana i-consider yan.
We will take note of that, no? Pakisabit na lang po yung inyong position paper. At least narinig po natin dito ngayon. Record, it is on record. So who else?
Bibigay na pagkakataon sa sentro.
Sige, short message from Santiago. Yung mga... Sige, Santiago, go ahead.
Thank you, the Senator, the Honorable Bong Revilla, for courage. You are fully supporting the bill for the lowering both of the mandatory and optional retirements. However, we have two prayers. First, that the pension should be based on the last salary received by the retiring employee, and secondly, that the minimum wage be that of 16,000 per month for the lowest rank, and lastly, that government employees in the GOCCs be given and be included in the SSL 5, because as of the moment we are not included in the said law. So again, first that the lowering the lowering of the age for retiring employees, both for compulsory and the optional retirement, we both agree to the said lowering of the ages. Second, that the pension be based on the last salary received by retiring employees, and third, that the national minimum wage be at 16,000 for the lowest rank government employees. Thank you from Carries again to the Honorable Senator, the Honorable Bong Revilla, and members of the committee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Courage. And sino ba? Wala na, okay na tayo.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Bo, you are recognized.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chair. The Philippine Government Employees Association supports the proposed lowering of retirement age of employees, but not at the expense of younger generation of public servants. So we suggest the Honorable Committee to balance the concern of the GSIS and the concerns raised by the Honorable Commissioner Lisada of the Civil Service in order not to jeopardize the welfare of those new in the government. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take note of that. Thank you, Mr. Bogo. Bo. And, okay, sa GSIS, baka may gusto pa kayo dagdag. Mr. Lucio, go ahead.
Sure, Mr. Chair, just a brief, brief statement. We thank the committee for the discussion of very, very crucial and critical legislation. In the end, let me assure the committee, the Honorable Chair, Honorable Senators, and even the resource person that we at GSIS has no other thing in mind than the service of the members. No, there are comments that wag munang negosyo, but it's not that. Well, rest assured, every one of us here at GSIS, Commissioner, the good Commissioner Lisada has been personally had the communication with me, ma'am. Let me assure you, ma'am, that we at GSIS wala ko ibang iniisip except how to service the members through benefits. The reason why we are very careful, as stated by DBM and some of the organization earlier, because we are not getting any funding from the national government. And that is why in every sense that we are going to spend at GSI, it should be for the benefits. It's the concern. Because pag lowering of retirement age, mag-subsidize ko kasi yung mga active members no, na hindi pa masyadong senior, no, if you will look at it. We will be the one, or the new ones will be subsidizing for those who have been retiring earlier. And that is why we're not saying that, of course, we are not in a very dire state situation, as I've always said, even in Congress. But we have to consider also how to improve the finances. That is all, Your Honor. But rest assured that we GSIS are a partner with the good senator and everybody here, no, Civil Service, DBM, in our mandate, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
We welcome that assurance, in the committee. Well, okay. Commissioner Lisada, you have closing remarks.
Thank you, Chair. For GSIS and on behalf of the 1.9 million government employees, we bring their concerns to this honorable committee, and we thank the honorable committee for hearing us. Sana all, para po, let's look and work together para ho sa kapakanan ng 1.9 Senator. Maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat.
I'm sure ang GSIS naman, they're doing everything din, Sabi nga, serbisyo hindi negosyo. Yun ang yun yun. But ang point dyan, diba, Lucio, kailangan magkasundo kayo, magkaayos kayo.
Yes, and as the late tama ko, sir, as the late Steve Jobs used to say, it's not CSC DepEd should win. For CSC to win, GSS has to lose. It's not that. Hindi ko dapat magkalaban. It's not that.
Correct.
It's not that just like Steve Jobs said that for Apple to win, Microsoft has to lose. It's not that. Let's stop that notion. It's not that. Everybody should win. Thank you, Ron.
That's right. So, okay. Based on who else is, si Senator Villanueva, baka merong, closing remarks. Senator, thank you very much.
Nothing, Mr. Chair. Thank you again.
Okay.
And the Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers.
You're right. Okay, based on what I have heard today from our discussion and based on the initial submissions of position papers to the committee, it would seem that lowering both the optional and compulsory retirement age are not feasible, as it will greatly undermine the viability of the fund life of GSIS. But rest assured that the committee will consider all options. This has been a productive hearing. May I thank our colleagues who have attended our hearing. Senator Villanueva, talagang tumutok, pare. Thank you very much. And Senator Binay, thank you, Senator Binay. And sa lahat po ng ating mga resource persons, sa inyong inputs and recommendations, i-consider po natin yung lahat ng basta tayo peace. Ang lahat po ng ginagawa natin ay para sa bayan at sa ating nasasakupan. Sa inyong lahat, again, thank you very much and God bless you all. Okay. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
At our...
Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Is adjourned.
Salamat po.